Happy new month is the start of another, 4 weeks coming our way, and it's a blessing that we've received from the Lord. If you're watching me this morning, well, what can I say? Thank God for the gift of life and hopefully for strength and health as well. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. Welcome to this holiday installment. It's Mayday, it's Workers' Day, it's Labor Day. Wherever you are, we celebrate, all of us, on the grind every day. Not just to put food on the table, but also to build our nation. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. Welcome aboard the AM show. Shortly, I'll be serving you the news, then the news review, and we're joined by Amanda Clinton. She's a lawyer. That'll be followed by sports, and then we segue neatly into our big stories. Now, the first matter we're going to be contemplating, the former Director General of the National Signals Bureau in some sort of tussle with, that is, the AG. I'm talking about Kwabena Adu-Boahene. He is facing multiple criminal charges over his alleged involvement in a procurement scandal that cost the state some 49.1 million Ghana cedis and more. Now, filed by the AG, Dr. Dominic Ayine, on Wednesday, April 30, 2025, at the High Court, the charges accuse Mr. Adu-Boahene and 3 others of misappropriating public funds under the pretext of procuring a cyber defense system for Ghana. The co-accused include his wife, Angela Ajay-Boateng, Mildred Donko, and Advantage Solutions Limited. We'll delve into that issue, for starters, when we get into our big stories. But of course, like I said, it's Mayday. Workers across the world are being celebrated. Well, here on the AM show, we have decided to spend time with the women who sell what we eat and the men who drive us to work. Stay tuned for those interactions with the market women and the GPRTU. We've got a couple of other, conversations we'll be having in respect of how some organizations are trying to meet their corporate social responsibility. All of that lined up for you, and of course, we'd love to hear from you. So stick and stay with us. Let's serve you the news up next. Welcome to the news belt of the show. Let's get into our first story. Chaos and rejection marred what was meant to be a routine confirmation process for municipal chief executives in parts of Accra as assembly members in the Ayawaso West Wuogon and Ayawaso Central constituencies firmly voted against the president's nominees, Michael Mensah and Rudolph Collingwood Williams. The tension-filled proceedings left Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Oklu visibly frustrated after expressing confidence that the nominees would sail through without incident. There's more in this report.
We enter into our meeting, we suspend all of you. I said we will prove to them we are in the constituency. They dare not. It's not over. We will do that.
Confirmation of Ayawaso West MCE nominee Michael Mensah breaks into violence just moments after the votes were declared. The nominee prior to the vote made a last-minute attempt to convince the assemblymen.
And I want to assure all of you here that I will lead Ayawaso West Wuogon into the future of sustainable development. I want to ask for your support. I want to ask for your vote. I want to assure you that we are going to work together as a team. I want to assure you that I am here for your welfare.
But that did little to convince the assemblymen. 9 of them voted against the nominee, while only 10 voted yes. That is still a mile away from the 2/3 majority needed to confirm the nominee. NDC constituency executives were left surprised and angry after the votes were declared.
So that we are working for you people. You know what will happen in the I'm telling you, it's not over. They will not even enter the room.
That's not the only MCE nominee that was rejected. Rudolph Williams for Ayawaso Central was also rejected by more than half of the assemblymen. Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Oklu was unhappy about the turn of events. She vowed to do all it takes to get the assemblymen to confirm the nominees.
We had a lengthy discussion and they gave us, They told us confidently that they are going to approve the present nominee. Unfortunately, only for us to see what we just saw. We told them to make amends with people. I mean, they may have felt that they are offended, and so that all these things wouldn't have, because this is the first case, and present nominee was rejected. So like I said, we'll go back to the table, re-strategize and come back. And the rest, we are still talking to the assembly members. I mean, some of them are peeved. They said, this person did this to me, this person did that. And so we are telling the nominee, I mean, it wouldn't take anything from you, even if you know to beg that person.
She also urged the assemblymen not to monetize the process.
They shouldn't monetize. I mean, the fact that if you don't approve, they'll come back to you to give you. That is what we are trying to avoid.
Meanwhile, the municipal chief executive nominee for Ayawaso North, Haruna Mohammed Awal, was endorsed by all the assemblymen. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
Let's talk gold now, as the Ghana Gold Board has given local gold dealership firms 21 days to acquire or rectify all purchasing licenses issued by the Precious Minerals Marketing Company. This comes on the back of the expiration of all gold trading licenses issued by the Precious Minerals Marketing Company, the PMMC, and the inception of the new act establishing the Ghana Gold Board. First, I'd like you to listen to Acting Director General of the Gold Board, Sami Jemfi, declaring war on all foreign gold dealers who attempt to purchase gold from the local market following the expiration of their licenses and the ban on their direct dealing in the local market.
Section 78 of the Ghana Gold Board Act provides that any person who had a license under this old regime, whether the license was issued to the person by the PMMC or the minister responsible for lands and natural resources, that license has ceased to be valid upon the coming into effect of the Ghana Gold Board Act. We are using this medium to remind all foreigners in the local gold trading sector that the deadline for them to exit the sector is today, 30th April 2025. And that from tomorrow going, it shall constitute a punishable criminal offense for a foreigner to buy or sell gold in the local gold trading sector. That is the first information we want to share with you.
He also issued a 21-day ultimatum to local gold dealers to rectify their old licenses or risk losing the right to trade.
Time frame is from today, the 30th of April 2025, to 21st of April 2025. 21st of May, sorry, did I say April? So today, 30th of April to 21st of May 2025. So we are giving you another 3 weeks. We believe that this is fair and this time frame should be adequate for anybody who is serious and desirous of applying for a gold board license to do so. And in our press release dated 23rd April 2025, we explained the process for license applications under the Gold Board Act. And just for purposes of purposes of emphasis, let me indicate again that if you want a license, you must go on the website of the Gold Board, which is goldboard.gov.gh. Goldboard.gov.gh. And you have 3 more weeks to apply for a new license. And I want to state for the records, with the media bearing witness, that this new timeline, this new deadline of 21st May 2025 is not subject to further extension. It will not be extended. So take advantage of it, because by the 21st of this month, only persons who have been granted licenses by the Gold Board will be tolerated in the gold trading sector. If you are a Ghanaian and you hold a license under PMMC or the ministry responsible for mines, and you don't take steps to apply for a new license before the 21st, you will be committing a punishable criminal offense if caught to be trading in gold after the 21st of May. So please, and please, the portal is opened. Take advantage, apply for a license, and we assure you that if you qualify, we will grant you the license. No kululu, no kalala. The process is very fair and competitive.
On the issue of market fires, in today's fire series, we head to the Ashaiman Municipal main market, where illegal electricity connections fueled by delays in ECG's release of meters and severe overcrowding have been blamed for repeated fires. Now, victims of the most recent blaze say they are still struggling to recover, having lost hundreds of thousands of cedis with no compensation from the authorities. They are now demanding a complete overhaul of the market to prevent future disasters. Carlos Caloni visited the market and came through with this report.
Built in the early 90s for a small group of traders, the Ashaiman Municipal main market has grown into a major commercial hub, but has seen little expansion, leading to severe overcrowding and frequent market fires. Today, even pathways are jammed with sellers spilling onto the street, making emergency response almost impossible. On September 9, 2023, nearly 100 traders lost goods and cash worth hundreds of thousands of cedis in a devastating dawn inferno that took hours for the Ghana National Fire Service to access and douse. Mabel Ayonu and Gladys Aji are just two of the victims.
We were informed that our teams are burning here. They have invited the fire service, but before they will get here, a lot of goods have burned before they were in. Everything, our money, our goods, all other things have lost. I took goods on Saturday, and the same day that I bought the goods was the same that the fire outbreak caused. So I lost the goods money 7,000. Once I left money here, 3,000. Before I get here, everything. And to start again, it wasn't easy for me. My things all bad. Over 3 million, 3 billion, 3.5 billion. Plenty. Not be small money.
Although the Municipal Assembly has rebuilt the sheds, little has changed. Taiba Abdullah says traders are still waiting for answers from authorities.
The government, the fire service, they didn't tell us what caused the fire. We didn't hear from them.
The September 9 inferno was not the first. Market management member Celestina Haji blames the recurring fires on illegal connections and overcrowding.
The major causes are illegal connections and illegal connection in the market. Because if we are apply for meter, they will not give you, and we need the light. So we have to go for the illegal. You get about 6 or 7 illegal connections. 10. We have the access, but the women broke it. They have shades. The women at the roadside, they all have shades in the market, but they went outside. We call for the assembly to come and sack them. If they sack them, they will get there, they will go there and go and pay money. They will leave them, they will come again. It affects us a lot because if we have disaster in the market, if the fire service are coming, they will not get road.
Celestina Haji, however, urged ECG to speed up meter access to curb illegal connections and calls on the Municipal Assembly to redesign the market to ease overcrowding.
They should give us meter if we apply. They should give us and fast. The Assembly should take action.
The newly nominated Municipal Chief Executive for Ashaiman, Freeman Chekbo, has, however, assured the market women of his firm commitment to modernizing the market.
His Excellency has promised the people of Ashaiman to uplift the market, a modern market. I will work to realize that vision for His Excellency.
Well, until these measures, including reconstruction of the market, access to ECG meters on time, are addressed, traders here in the market will remain at the mercy of fire disasters. My name is Carlos Caloni for joining.
Let's focus on health now. And the Renal Dialysis Center at the Bolgatanga Hospital in the Upper East region is facing inadequate staffing challenges that are jeopardizing its ability to provide optimal care to patients. According to the head of the unit, Dr. Adam Yusuf, more nurses with specialties in areas such as nutrition and psychology are needed at the facility so we can provide holistic care to patients. Dr. Yusuf was speaking after the regional branch of the Ghana Medical Association donated some equipment to support the Renal Dialysis Center of the hospital. Correspondent Albert Sori reports.
The Renal Dialysis Center of the Bolgatanga Hospital commenced operations in September 2024. It currently has 29 patients and 13 dialysis machines. The operationalization of this dialysis center came as a huge relief to many renal patients and their families who were previously compelled to travel to the Tamale Teaching Hospital in the northern region to get dialysis services. However, the Renal Dialysis Center needs the continuous support of all stakeholders to keep rendering uninterrupted services to clients. Speaking to Joy News after receiving a donation of equipment from the Upper East Regional Branch of the Ghana Medical Association, the head of the Renal Dialysis Center of the Bolgatanga Hospital, Dr. Adam Yusuf, revealed that inadequate staffing was the primary barrier hindering their operations.
Every machine once a while will develop a fault. Those we encounter once a while. But there is no machine that is just sitting there unfunctional at the moment. All the machines are functional. But it's the staff strength that is the main problem. We don't have enough staff strength to be able to do a certain number of cases.
He called for the posting of more healthcare personnel with special backgrounds to the Renal Dialysis Center.
Essentially, the nursing staff is overwhelming for them, and so currently we don't run night shifts except for emergency services, and sometimes when they are so overwhelmed, the emergencies become problematic to handle. So it's important that we try and get more nurses to the unit so that we can run it smoothly. We have other aspects of the dialysis care which has to do with nutrition, psychological support, and all that. These are all areas that I think we need to build capacity towards. So nurses can probably specialize along those areas and come and deliver those services to us, because holistically, that's how we should actually approach the patients.
The Ghana Medical Association's donation was meant to help enhance the operations of the Renal Dialysis Center of the Bolgatanga Hospital. The items donated included 6 parameter monitors, digital BP apparatus, patient screens, and pulse oximeters. Dr. Zakaria Adam is the Upper East Regional Chairman of the Ghana Medical Association.
We thought that we should be able to also support the agenda in making sure that this dialysis unit is sustainable and functional in order to bring quality care to patients in Upper East region. We had interactions with the units to try and identify some of the challenges. So as an association we came together and then we pooled resources together so that we can support the unit as well.
Reporting for Joy News, Albert Sori, Bolgatanga.
In our next story, the Minister of Education has officially inaugurated the reconstituted Governing Council of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. At the event, he urged the newly sworn-in council to shift focus from the humanities and instead prioritize STEM education and artificial intelligence, describing them as crucial pillars for Ghana's development. Mamavi Sefakote has more in this report.
The newly reconstituted 15-member governing council of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology is chaired by Ayamfo Asafo-Boakye Agyemang-Bonsu. Following the oath-taking and swearing-in ceremony, the minister challenged the council to focus less on the humanities and instead prioritize science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education along with artificial intelligence, areas he described as essential to Ghana's national development agenda.
That I add that there is a mismatch between what the universities are producing and what is required and desired by industry and commerce. We are seeing a major shift. The university had a mandate to science and technology, and the university must lead the way into the future with STEM education, science, technology, mathematics education, and in particular, the new unknown animal of artificial intelligence. We expect the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology to lead and provide leadership in that direction. So I'm compelled, Professor Vice Chancellor, if I have the indulgence of Chair of Council Nana, to put the brakes that don't expand too much into the humanities. Remain focused on science, mathematics, and engineering. It is the future, and you help define the future of this country by defining its human capital requirement.
In response, Council Chairman Ayamfo Asafo-Boakye Agyemang-Bonsu welcomed the charge and pledged that he and his team would work to align with the President's vision for education in the country.
Honorable Minister, talking at this moment in our development, but also globally, we cannot forget about addressing emerging technologies. And you mentioned artificial intelligence as one important area of work which you expect KNUST to focus and remain as science, mathematics, and engineering educational institution with little emphasis on humanities. We pledge working within the council to ensure that this noble task that you have given us will be achieved.
The council is made up of diverse stakeholders, including representatives from Convocation, one from the University Teacher Association of Ghana, and a postgraduate students representative, among others, all tasked with steering KNUST towards excellence in higher education and research. Mamavi Safa-Kote's report for Joy News.
Now, Upper West Regional Minister Charles Luwanga Pozwing has appealed to chiefs in the region to codify succession lines to curb chieftaincy disputes. He noted that when that was done, it would bring clarity and stability to chiefdom and prevent unnecessary conflicts. Charles Luwanga made the appeal when members of a joint Drapa and Ulo traditional councils paid a courtesy call on him at his office in Wa. Joy News' Upper West Regional correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
The visit of the joint Jiripa and Ulo traditional councils to the office of the Upper West Regional Minister, Lawyer Charles Luwanga Pozwing, was in twofold. First, to congratulate him as a son from the area for rising to arguably the most coveted political position in the region. Next was to raise some developmental concerns in the area, calling on the minister to help intervene to better the lives of the people. Paramount Chief of Ulutuapare and acting president of the Ulo traditional area, now Professor Bruce Bassana III, articulated the concerns of the chiefs.
The road situation in the Upper West region is bad. And for so many years, other parts of this country have always had, new roads paved or developed. And we think that this is the time for us, with the new government's agenda of the big push, that we also get, some of these third roads connecting our districts and also some of our bigger communities. We also talked about the indiscriminate felling of trees, especially ornamental trees, tree crops like shea trees, the black, dawa dawa, and even trees that, because looking at our ecological situation, shouldn't be cut. And this is just happening almost everywhere. And I think that we also told him that we need the security forces or services to help us.
Another issue was the increase in crime in the area, especially cattle rustling.
We have too many Fulani people. Many of them are not doing any work, including their children. And every day, hard-working people are trying to conserve animals to look after their children. The next morning, everything is gone. And I think that something must be done. It's so disheartening that somebody, knowing very well that he will be able to, his children will go to school, will need to sell at least one of the animals. He wakes up and the animal is gone. And I think that this is a very important thing that government, and which we also put before the minister to act on and to help us.
Lawyer Charles Wonga-Pozen, in his response, first commended the chiefs for the visit. He, however, was not happy about the litany of chieftaincy disputes in the area, calling on them to codify the line of succession in their respective communities to avoid disputes.
Endeavor to start recording and make sure that the processes of ascending to the various cairns you occupy are well followed and documented for future purposes. Or else, whenever there's a vacancy, people rise up, those who are qualified and those who are not qualified. Some try to use monetary gains for purposes of gaining or being nominated and then skinned as chiefs of this area. Jirapa is dear to my heart, especially that I'm from Jirapa now. I'll be disappointed that during my tenure, steps are not taken to resolve these chieftaincy issues so that we can have a united front and build Jirapa to its glory days as it was when we were growing young.
On the issue of the cattle rustling, Lawyer Charles Wonga disclosed that his outfit and the various municipal and district assemblies in the region are working in partnership with some development partners to develop bylaws to enable them address the menace. Reporting for Eduahin News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
Welcome to our business updates. For starters, let's check out the value of our local currency, the Ghana cedi, vis-a-vis other international currencies. Let's get into the stories now. And the Petroleum Hub Development Corporation has announced that government is on track to establish a petroleum hub by 2036. According to the CEO of the Petroleum Hub Development Corporation, Dr. Tony Obin, significant progress has been made towards realizing this goal, with plans underway to develop the necessary infrastructure, including storage facilities, refineries, and transportation systems. Dr. Obin spoke to Joy Business on the sidelines of the interagency dialogue in Accra.
We've done a lot. Government is in the process of completing the acquisition of 20,000 acres of land. And let me be very quick in saying that the 20,000 acres of land, not all will be used for the hub or by the hub, but about 8,000 acres of it is a lagoon and a wetland area. So you see, these areas need protection. They need to be protected. They don't need to be used. They need to be properly used because of their biodiversity sensitivity. So we have acquired this huge tract so that there will be attention paid to those areas. We do not want to be in a hub and then people think that that land is a no man's land and then they go and negatively impact on those sensitive areas. So that's what it is. So government is in the process of completing that acquisition. And when that happens, the plan is that by 2036, we should see the hub fully implemented or fully on course.
The World Bank Board of Directors has approved additional financing for the second phase of the West Africa Food System Resilience Program, aimed at helping Ghana strengthen its capacity for addressing food insecurity and build resilient food systems. There's more in this report.
The $125.9 million financing, funded by a combination of International Development Association credit and the grants from the Food Systems 2030 Multi-Door Trust Fund, will help replenish resources diverted to support farmers affected by floods and drought and to enhance sustainable intensification of tomato production. More specifically, the financing will support digital advisory services aimed at enhancing agricultural and food crisis management through improved access to data on weather patterns, nutrition, and food security, as well as better pest and disease monitoring. It will also invest in building the sustainability and adaptive capacity of the food system's productive base, promoting environmentally sound agricultural practices to strengthen resilience to environmental and economic disruptions. Additionally, the program will facilitate regional food market integration and trade to improve food security across borders.
Let's head into our commodities market now. It's a wrap for the news. Let's stay for the news review coming up in a bit. We'll be right back. It's all live on the AM Show. Time now for the news review. But before we get into it, the AM Show is proudly sponsored by Waylead Properties. My question, are you thinking of a rewarding investment you can engage in? Waylead Company Limited is your preferred choice for such an investment. Let me just tell you, Waylead Company Limited is a real estate company with several developments to its credit right here in Accra. And we're inviting you to invest in our new development, Willow Lane, where elegance will meet tranquility in the heart of Accra. A beautiful marriage, right? We provide quality housing at an affordable cost and also with a flexible payment option. At Waylead Properties, we provide you with 24-hour security, reliable power supply, and other social amenities to make your stay memorable. All you have to do now, pick up your phone, note these numbers down, and give them a call later in the day. 0240 111 119 or 0504 499 999. If you'd like to check them out, you can also visit their website, www.waylead.org. Joining the conversation this morning, Amanda Clinton. She's a lawyer and also head of the chambers for Clinton Consultancy, or head of chambers at Clinton Consultancy. Then there's Nanaya Osapong, a political assistant to Alan Kwadwo Kyerematen, of the movement for change. Both of them join the conversation. Lady, gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
What are your reflections for us this morning? Today is Mayday, it's Workers' Day, it's Labor Day. Any quick reflections before we go? I'll start with you, Amanda.
Just, the asset declaration, 56 appointees have not declared their assets, and, will President Mahama stick to what he said, which is that anybody who fails to do so, he'll probably get rid of. And I guess the Attorney General's very powerful delivery yesterday, firmly supporting the oral stand and, having a new sort of energy towards prosecution. And he said that no political office or power will shield individuals from legal consequences. And then he listed several cases which have been filed by the Attorney General's Department.
So for you, what should emanate from there? I know there's at least one person who came out to say that the Attorney General's Department would have to make its list of those who had submitted their asset declarations current, because he had submitted it and he had a receipt for it, yet his name was there as someone who hadn't. Of course, I don't speak for the others who may not have done so. And some of them, very high-ranking officials, very prominent officials. We hear of the name of the IGP in there, ministers, deputies, and others. So, of course, what the president said he must live by. But how about that occasion, for example, where someone says, but I've submitted mine. Why is your system not reflecting it? And only God knows who else could be affected in that. What do you think?
Yes, I mean, it's a crucial test for the president. And of course, should he say that if you haven't provided it, then you must go, I'm sure he would do so on an updated list and not on a list that isn't updated. But he made it a presidential directive. He was very firm on that. And if you have nothing to hide, declare your assets, basically.
The former Auditor General, Daniel Yaw-Domelevo, also spoke on it. And he said that, look, Mr. President, stick to your promise. And of course, it's going to be tricky if maybe these people may be given some sort of, what's that word? Not respite, but amnesty to do the right thing. In politics, that probably would be the rational political decision. But at the same time, Daniel Yaw-Domelevo says, Mr. President, you made a promise, and if this is how it is, let go of all of them. But then you would ask yourself, how does that feed into, for example, the IGP?
Yeah.
Some of the positions. For example, I think COP Nathan Boakye, who is at the presidency now, part of the operational setup, purportedly also hasn't. It would be quite a shake-up of sorts if all of these people had to go, bearing in mind that the president also made certain commitments about fast-tracking certain things, appointing ministers and all of that. Do you get it? If you go this way, what does it mean also for the fulfillment of that promise? And it becomes a bit
I think
murky, doesn't it?
like the Gold Board yesterday issued a 30-day extension in terms of, if you hold a minerals commission license, etc., that will be extended for 30 days, and it won't be extended past that deadline. So I think a firm decision by the president to perhaps extend for 30 more days in case people had to get their houses in order. But I think he definitely has to stick to that presidential directive, because it also feeds into the oral overall policy of, if you're looking at a government that is not going to be corrupt, the first thing you do is to see if there's any conflict of interest and, where the assets lie. And these are public figures. Don't submit yourself to a public role if you're not prepared to be vetted fully, and then perhaps have an extension and declare it, basically.
Right. Let me go to Nanaya Sapong. Nanaya, I'm going to fling a hot potato at you. Are you Christian?
Very much.
How often do you read your Bible?
The Bible is a daily bread.
Okay.
It says that the word will not leave my lips. You understand? And I'll feed my household with it. So I'm just
being a bit mischievous, because I see how worn your copy of the Movement for Change.
Oh, yes.
I can tell you read it often. It's folded and all that. I'm wondering whether if I picked your Bible, I would see it this morning.
It's in my car right now. I have a Bible in my car. I have an electronic one.
You're sure it's not there for decoration?
I don't. People don't sit in my car, of course, so it's not for decorative purposes.
I'm just being.
I know, and I know how kind a Catholic you are, and so I'm with prayer parlors.
Oh, I see.
Yes, and of course.
Okay.
I have to.
Okay. I love your Batikari, by the way. Anyway, so let's get your thoughts for this morning.
Yes. First of all, I would want to wish the labor force, the Ghanaian worker, Mayday, and to say Ayiko to every single worker in Ghana here. I think that we have done a great job. If we have survived in this country up until now with all that is happening, and we are still here, and we have contributed our quota to the growth of our economy, then you have done well. Some couldn't stay. They have decided to, they've decided to leave the shores, but we have decided to stay and contribute and build this nation. It is my wish and my prayer and hope that we are able to carry this country on our shoulders and hold on to it and then build a better Ghana. But just on the issue also of the asset declaration, then I personally would want there to be an extension, all right, an amnesty. What I think we should be pushing for, and I've said this to Dominovlo before, sometime when he raised the issue about this whole declaration and people should be forced to declare and all that. I said what we should be forcing or we're pushing to do is to amend the act that has to do with the asset declaration. It's archaic. You understand me? Let us amend it. Let us put in other sections or clauses that would enable the Auditor General to publish it. Let us put in...
publish it?
Of course. I mean, we should know. You say you have 3 houses. Where are the 3 houses? You understand? What is the value of the...
But before you continue on that trajectory, maybe we should look at what the requirements of the law are, rather than... in respect of the publication. I do know that if you want certain pieces of information, you can go and check. There are processes to be followed. But what does it say about...
It is the court.
What does it say about making it public ab initio?
For what we know, for what I know, what I have read from the Act, all right, it's handed over to the Auditor General directly. All right, no other officer has access to it. And until the court, or there's an issue and the court...
Which is exactly what I'm alluding to. You spoke about...
If there is...
Publicly.
Yes.
To know what the Ministry of Interior's house is not a good thing. You know what I mean? The Minister of Interior, for instance, if that was publicly known...
Minister of Interior?
There's just an example.
We know where his office is. Why can't we know where
his office is? Because in case somebody wants to attack him for what we are
failing to see and notice is that I can say that I have 10 houses, all right? And then I write it in. Now I would begin to build the 10 houses. Like somebody says that maybe like this case that is ongoing and an individual has about 29 houses to his name and to that of his company. All right. You are supposed to list all your values, your assets and liabilities in the asset declaration. People would tell you what does not exist.
So, Manayao, quick point.
Yes.
I'll allow you to go on. But I think the solution is not necessarily making it public, because I also concur with Amanda that if we knew all of these things, some of these people, like she mentioned, Interior Minister...
Maybe if I had ended.
Hold. Let me just...
Maybe if I had landed.
And all of that. I don't know where the IGP lives. I've known of some other IGPs in the past. I don't know where the IGP lives. I don't need to know where the IGP lives. All I need to know is that the IGP has submitted his audited assets and liabilities, because that's another angle that people
it's assets and liabilities.
Use. Maybe I have 3 houses. I put it there, but I owe 10 million Ghana cedis. Nobody knows. And so I can be corrupt and pay off my 10 million Ghana cedis? Nobody knows because it's a liability. I did not declare that. All I declared were my assets. My houses remain 3, but I've paid off a 10 million Ghana cedi loan. However, the point I am trying to make is to both meet what Amanda is saying and meet what you are saying. In there should be the bridge of verifiability.
Yes.
So you don't just declare and you say you have 10 houses. Okay, he has 10 houses. He has 10 houses. Where are these houses located?
That was where I was.
Lands Commission. Where is that?
That was where I was in London.
You detect and then it is done. How should that be a problem?
The Auditor General should, and his team, should be able to verify that this man says that I have A, B, C, D. Indeed, the locations are here, there, and there. That is to the Auditor General. At least he should be able to open the envelope. Ben, we've submitted these forms before. When you get to the reception and the office where they collect them, all right, initially, they do not even have the right to look at it. But because of mistakes and the opportunity to correct them when you are there, they allow you to open it, to spread it out, and then they look to ensure that indeed you have filled all the spots. You fold it in, you put it in the envelope, the brown envelope, then it's sealed. You are giving your receipt. Nobody touches this again. Nobody knows whether or not whatever you have stated is true. Even the value of the properties you have listed, nobody does the verification.
Yes, but it comes back to haunt you should you lie. Because that's the point. By declaring, should it be later be found that you didn't declare the truth, etc.? You know, from a legal perspective, that's when you enter the territory of potentially losing that position.
Until something has gone wrong, you will never know whether or not you're on the wrong side of the law. Okay. Let us not allow that to happen. Let us push them by the law to be able to do the right thing. It is us. It's the public purse we are trying to protect. You understand? So if there is a lacuna, that's how your lawyers will say it, if there is a lacuna, we should be able to fill it. And we have the avenue to do it. People going to declare, man, I could just say that I own currently where I'm staying, I own the property.
But
no, there's a standard. There is definitely a standard.
If it is nebulous, if it is ambiguous, and you know what we are trying to say.
They do not even put the date in there when you got to own that property.
Well, we don't know that for sure. I mean, I really do think that the test is a little higher in terms of where exactly do you own, from when, what time.
Let's do ourselves a favor. All right. Let's go to the Auditor General's department. Let us request for one of the forms that we want to declare our assets. Let's come spread it. And let us look at
that we want to declare our assets. Are you a public service worker?
Oh, I am a good citizen.
In that category.
I'm a good citizen.
Are you an Article 71 officer?
I'm a good citizen. I just want to declare my assets.
For what purpose?
At least I'm politically exposed. So that we look.
But the law is specific on this matter. It's not just anybody who can get up and say.
No, so let's look at what is in there. So that because I have had the opportunity to see the forms. All right? I have had the opportunity to see the forms, and I'm saying that there is so much of lacuna in the form and the law itself, and we need to deal with it. Forcing people to just go and take the forms and declare the assets. And you see, coming back to what you were saying, you are not even able to tell the appointees, okay? Because the appointees go beyond the Article 71 office holders, all right? The CEOs, their deputies, and all those persons who have been given appointments. To an extent, when people started hearing the IGP and others, well, I mean, yesterday somebody asked me, is the IGP and those people all part of those who are supposed to declare the assets?
Everybody.
No, people do not even know that they are appointees and they are constitutional bodies. So let's have ourselves.
But I do think the form, even though, as you would say, I haven't seen the form, but I think it must be detailed enough that 56 appointees defied the presidential directive. It means that there must be something in that form that is so specific that perhaps at this time they don't want to declare. So 8 out of 55 ministers and deputy ministers did not declare their assets. 8 out of 32 presidential staffers and 38 out of 84 heads of state institutions. So that gives us an indication, perhaps, that the form might not be as scatty as one would initially think.
At least I would, without mentioning any name, I would let you have the opportunity to go through it Just glance
So the
through
house.
No, it's okay.
And other buildings.
Yes.
Where it's situated, if it's freehold or leasehold, the date acquired, the cost at the time of acquisition, and then the rent per annum.
Good.
So for me, that's a detailed enough list.
So there should be a valuation report to this effect. I mean, I can't just look at the
So let's, on this bit of valuation, if you look at the Office of the Auditor General in Ghana, it's a mandatory declaration. Public officials are required to declare, to complete and submit a written declaration of all their assets, both direct and indirect, on a designated form to the Auditor General.
Yes.
Like I've said, where maybe we should be looking at more is liabilities and how people could divert money to take care of liabilities, which are not necessarily assets, or which in fact are not assets. What is the role of the Auditor General? Receiving and managing these declarations. The documents are generally kept sealed. They can be opened during investigations or when there is reason to suspect wrongdoing. Now, let me come to verification. The verification of assets is a crucial step in ensuring accuracy and preventing fraudulent activity. This involves confirming the existence, does it exist? Ownership, is it really yours? Value, are you saying it is worth $2 million, $100,000? Yes. Authenticity of an asset. And just for the sake of examples, when declaring assets, details such as registration numbers for vehicles, land, yachts, in case you are rich enough to own one, and account numbers for shares or bonds, all of these ought to be provided. I don't think there's that much of a lacuna when it comes to the asset declaration. I think, as always, or usually in our country, enforcement has been the problem. I don't think verifiability is an issue. What I see is maybe the liabilities end of things. But
Ben, I mean, the point is that the form is given to me. I put in the information. Nobody goes to verify because the Auditor General has not the right to open it. You understand? So I can have a V8 Toyota Land Cruiser, okay, and put in any number. Until otherwise there is a need for us to verify. Until otherwise there is an investigation that ought to be done. And all I'm saying is that all of these properties you have listed, all of these liabilities you're talking about, once you've written them, there should be a back-end report to that effect. Who does valuations in Ghana? You say you have a landed property, Lands Commission, you take a report. It's just like when you have gone to court and then you've been asked to submit properties on bail, okay, to grant somebody bail, and then they say you have to bring in some properties. You add valuation reports. Why can't you just walk to the court and tell the court that I have a property in Osu, it is worth 100,000 Ghana cedis, and on plot number 2. It's not just done like that. You go for a proper valuation report, a report from the Lands Commission. You attach it to it for the registrar to verify and confirm that indeed it is yours, and confirm that indeed it is valued what you say is valued.
So basically establishing a verification unit within the audit service to cross-check the declarations.
Absolutely.
Is what you're saying.
Absolutely. And to give the Auditor General the authority to be able to indeed open the seal.
But wait,
that ought to be done.
When you say open the seal, don't they see before it's sealed?
No.
Do you know that for a fact?
Oh, actually. Yes.
Careful.
I know that for a fact. I'm speaking on authority.
For a fact that they don't see
before
it is sealed.
I'm telling you authority. You can call them a blue.
I've heard some accusations in the past where people say maybe someone even presents a blank sheet.
No.
Okay? Hold for me.
No, that's what.
Hold for me. But if you don't see, how would you know?
That's what I'm saying. That when you have gone to submit it at the ground floor, what they do, all right, is that they tell you that they do not have the right to see it. But for the purposes that you have been able to do the right thing, okay, maybe signed where you're supposed to have signed, templated where you are supposed to have templated, and putting an NA where it's supposed to be and all that. They just go through it with you and ensure that the right thing is done. So basically, the seeing is not to ensure that A, B, C, D is supposed to be in it, just to ensure that the right thing was done. That's
so
all.
basically, a
That's
verification unit within the Auditors General's department that does due diligence.
That's what
and
we've
then
been calling
starts from the ministers in terms of there's a high priority list. You start from, verifying all the ministers first, then moving down
in terms of asset declaration. I do not think that terrorists should be ranked.
Well, yes,
they are all holding public offices.
No, but they hold the more sensitive positions because they have more influence, some could argue, within their departments, and so potentially, the risk might be higher.
Some CEOs are more powerful than ministers.
As we saw with the recent...
Well, the law is the law, and I'll just read something. That is if PNDC Law 280 is actually what we are still using. But we must also look at it this way. It's not even, in terms of the declaration aspect, it is fixed on who should do it. But even beyond that, that is why there's a category of, and people don't know this, but there are politically exposed people who may not be there as Article 71 office holders. But you may not have to declare your assets, but if it's found that all of a sudden you're putting up X building, you're buying Maseratis and the rest, the state has every right. You could be investigated. And that's something we don't do enough in this country because we see a lot of people, I am this, I'm driving all kinds of vehicles.
Lifestyle audit.
What is the source of your wealth?
Lifestyle audit.
What is the source of your wealth? If I am doing the work I do and I earn a certain salary at the end of the month, I can justify that if you see me with this and that, every peswa of what you see, apart from the other pieces of work I do, these generate X income for me. And that's how I'm able to do this. Can we do same for all of these politically exposed? And it goes down down to even media people.
But that's what we're talking about, of course.
Depending on your level of
You're another arm of government.
Yeah, but
so there are times where you even go to a bank. I remember this time, there was someone who wanted me to do something for them here at home, right? Yeah. And so they sent some money into my account so that, that thing about, Misifie, send this money. Yes. They don't have an account, and then I'll give it to. And so it was exactly that person sent, I took the money, and I was asked questions about that. And I had to explain that, trace it. This is where the money is emanating.
There should be a purpose
This
for
is
the money.
the email the person sent me. This is the family member's phone number. I am merely taking and giving to. In fact, I am coming with the person to come in.
Of course.
They were asking me questions, and I understood.
Compliance.
Because, in a way...
Banking compliance.
Exactly.
Yes, but what you're talking about, the UK has that, the unexplained wealth order. I think an act went into force a few years ago. It requires a person who is politically exposed or reasonably suspected of involvement in or of being connected to a person involved in, for instance, serious crime to explain the origin of assets. So they do that a lot in the UK with houses because, people normally, if you have that kind of unexplained wealth, you buy a $5 million house, etc., automatically, even the person who is attempting to sell you the house can report you because they now have an obligation to do so. And just because of the suspicion of £5 million to buy a house, the unexplained wealth order automatically kicks in and there's a presumption, and then you have to show how you acquired that money. And that's for all sorts of people, from former government officials in different countries to wives of ex-banking, leaders in the country, etc. So that would be an umbrella to cover everybody, basically.
And by the way, this sum of money I'm mentioning isn't even that's how much it was.
It has to be interesting. You see, if you read our Great Transformational Plan, all right, as part of measures in dealing with corruption, one of the points we raised was that amend existing asset declaration laws to strengthen disclosure and introduce new forms of asset tracking and recovery, including but not limited to instruments such as lifestyle audit for tracking unexplained wealth.
This is not the first time this has been said, though. And even in terms of taxes, if we did proper lifestyle audits, a lot more people would be paying a lot more taxes, and we'd be able to stem the tide of a lot of corrupt activity. But if you look at the declaration of assets, even looking at the sections, specify public and other office holders to declare their assets, assets declaration to be periodically reviewed.
Yes.
You see, that's something that we often, periodically, it ought to be reviewed. So even if at the instance, from the start, we are saying, okay, so we didn't take a look at it, we just checked after a certain period, we must check and be sure that, okay, you declared X, Y, Z. Do you have X, Y, Z, or have you added A, B, C?
No, so
how did you come by
it's in the law,
all of that?
The section 4
No, but that's exactly what I'm saying. Assets declaration to be periodically reviewed. It is there.
Like the former Director General of NSB, for instance, had he done that sort of asset declaration after taking office, this would have exposed certain things. And although, albeit he wouldn't have...
That is if he would have.
Yes, and if he didn't, then that would form part of the investigation and the matter in court.
Because at the end of every 4 years...
It would show that he lied. If you're supposed to declare it after a certain time and you don't, and then they later bring charges on you, it means you deliberately concealed that.
No, that's true.
You see what I mean?
It's either at the end of every 4 years or at the end of your term in office.
Yeah.
All right. So before you take office, you declare. At the end of your office, your tenure, you also go to declare. But how many of them even remember to go declare at the end of their tenure in office?
Well, I think one has to be prompted. It's not, you just going by yourself. One has to be told, this is the directive from the president.
Do I tell you not to steal before you know that stealing is a crime?
It's a presidential directive that has to be followed every 4 years.
And again, assuming PNDC law 280 still stands. In fact, it's interesting because at the point, there was even a point of the declaration of assets by PNDC, officials. It's interesting. That's how serious it was. That is if Act 280 is still what applies. But if you look at Section 8...
but the Act is not Act 550.
It's what?
Act 550. That's Public Office Holders.
Okay.
Declaration of Assets and Disqualification Act 1998.
Okay, so I am looking at... That's why I'm saying that I'm issuing the caveat, because the foundation is PNDC law 280.
Yes, that's from... as amended, yes.
Exactly. And if you go to Section 8, or Clause 8, if you like, there's something interesting there. It talks about complaints against declared assets. And it says, 1, an allegation that a person has made a false declaration in the assets publication under this Act may be lodged with the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, what I see here. And 2, the Commission shall, on receipt of a complaint under subsection 1, cause the matter to be investigated and shall, where it finds that a false declaration has been willfully made by the declarant, rule that person as ineligible to be elected or appointed to a public office specified in the first schedule, or to be elected or appointed as a principal officer, office holder of a political party, and may take a further action that it considers appropriate in respect of the results of the investigation. So again, like I was saying, old or new, I think we have the foundation. It just is that, I don't know, enforceability. I see a comment here. Francis Enyan says, they will do all their new properties in wife, husband, or child's name. Actually, there should be a way as well, and there is a way. So if you're if you're a public office holder, you declare I have XYZ property, and you are also your wife or your brother or your mother is all of a sudden coming through with all kinds of, property. We should be able to check that as well. I think it's a simple rollover because you attach. That is why. Look at Adu-Boahene.
Yes.
His wife is purportedly complicit, and another person also involved. Why is that? Because once you have that person who is politically exposed, anything in effect, any property going round with anybody close to the person must then be verified as well. Is it that Asemesi has a position and so, so let me not do it myself, but it's in my
direct
wife's
and indirect as per the law.
Like I think you're saying, there's a challenge in enforcement because it requires a formal complaint and it requires a verification mechanism. So it's like a catch-22 sort of thing. It goes round in a
once it's direct and they put it in the law that, listen, the AG has the right to open it, the AG and his team has the right to go do some verification and to be able to authenticate whether or not. But then we're able to go. That is what they should be pushing for.
All right. Let's get to the news portals now. I believe we'll do a bit of myjoyonline.com, then do a bit of Graphic, and then maybe the BBC. We are not selling ECG. John Jinapo dispels privatization fears, explains concession model. There's also, I know it's not easy, but I'm not here to complain. Energy Minister vows to fix power woes. There are a few quotes from him that I'll be sharing with you. We inherited a crisis. Energy Minister pins load shedding on NPP administration. Then I'll not do all the stories, just some of them. Akonta Mining sues government over alleged defamation, demands 20 million Ghana cedis in damages. AG to file criminal charges in SkyTrain NSS ghost name scandals next week. Interesting bit on the SkyTrain. When the lights go out, so does public patience. Energy Minister admits fault and promises to fix it. Adu-Boahene and wife plead not guilty to 49 million Ghana cedis in corruption charges. Exam malpractices threaten national security, workforce competitiveness. That's according to WAEC. And this is a serious matter that we often take for granted, because if you are lying through your exams, you are lying through your capacity.
You are building the foundation.
And a lot of such people sometimes get exposed at the tertiary level. My alma mater, the University of Ghana, is ruthless. You will be weeded out. And we hear, I mean, we don't hear it often enough, but a lot of people who get into first year, sometimes, you know, they don't make it past that. When I was in law school back then, even in the first year, in fact, first semester, a number of people dropped off. When I was doing my master's in law, a number of people could not make it through. It is what it is. If you don't qualify, you don't qualify. So this bit about exam malpractice, there are people who have cheated throughout their lives. Even in governance, they are cheating. Even on their CVs, they are cheating. Court remands 4 into NACOC's custody for alleged cocaine smuggling. And which other stories will I do? I'll look at some others later. So let's start with the ECG bit. The Energy Minister has rejected claims that government is selling the Electricity Company of Ghana, saying Cabinet has instead chosen a concessionary model to bring in private sector efficiency without giving up state ownership. Quoting him, he says, "We are not selling ECG." And let me put this on record. John Abdullahi Janapo said on PM Express, that is yesterday. So that decision has now been made. We are not selling ECG, far from that. So ignore the misinformation. Cabinet has taken a definitive position that will require some level of private sector participation, but not to sell the company outright. That is what he says. He also says ECG will divide its operational areas into 4, maybe 3, the minister said. Roland Company, for instance, will take 1. Yours is to manage that sector or that geographical area. At the end of the month, we check how much power came to you, just hypothetically, maybe 20 megawatts. We check the gigawatt hours that you consumed, and we say that this is the price, pay ECG. How you collect the money is your cup of tea. It goes on and on, but that's the thrust of it. What do you make of this?
I think because of, 2019, the power distribution service concessions...
PDS.
Yeah. Left a lasting impact on public trust. You know what I mean? And so people are sort of thinking, is this going to be echoes of that coming up? And, you know, potential loss of sovereignty and national control, you know, one would suspect, you know, we just want to own it all.
But owning it all, has it worked for us? And he says it's a concession. It's not an outright sale. Nothing is being done in that regard. I just want us to get to the meat of the matter, not...
Yes, but, I mean, it is true. It is very difficult living in a Ghana where if the lights... If the rain comes, then the lights could go off. You know what I mean? It is difficult living in that sort of Ghana, which we do.
And he spoke about that, but you go ahead.
Which we do. So... it's good that he clarified what these concessions are, but I think they would have to be fully transparent in order for public trust and buy-in into such a model, basically.
Just to add before Nanayao comes in, he says the load shedding is something we inherited in terms of the interruptions. As far back as December, the last month of the MPP administration, they were shedding about 500 megawatts. And in 2024, every month saw load shedding. For the past few days, because of the rains, the system gets a bit unstable. We have also come under heat, and rightly so. It makes no sense to me why the lights always go out whenever it rains. We must get to a level where the lights stay on during rain. I cannot accept that when it rains, 21 feeders go off. We must find a solution. And admittedly, I think within the last few weeks, my power has gone out, or my lights have gone out twice. But interestingly, when they go out, it's not more than 5 minutes, and then they are back. But when it rained heavily, I think it was out
for
a while, till the rains subsided.
5 hours or so.
Yeah. So it creates the impression that for some reason we can't contain the rains, and that because they could interfere with ECGs, whether it's transformers or whatever, the power has to go out so that when the rain subsides, then it comes back. But is that feasible? Is that practical?
When the rains were heavy, I think some few days ago, and I called ECG, they talked about the fact that they had an issue with the feeder and for the entire area. But I mean, it was something that I did not understand, I could not understand. I think that we should know and understand that we are in modern times, okay? And that then draws me back to what you were asking. What concession are they giving out? Is it infrastructure? Is it the collection of revenue? Is it the transmission? They should be able to come out clear. Let us understand.
I think he makes a point about
aspects,
the RFP and what will go. Basically, if you followed initially the proposals that were made, what it means is that it's going to be distributed. And for example, one person may be enforcing this, the other person may be doing the collections. You are just doing collections, ensuring that if X person, like I was saying earlier, has consumed 50 megawatts, for example, or gigawatts, be it as it may, then this is what, per the reading, you should be paying. We collect the money, we ensure that we have collected the money. And
because as I sit here as a layman who does not know so much about electricity or power supply, what I understand that ECG is facing is on two counts: revenue collection and infrastructure. These are the two main issues I think that ECG has got. So if we want to actually deal with the matter, then we should look at which ones are doing more of the revenue collections, because that is what goes into the payment of the power, independent power producers. We should look at the infrastructure, whether or not they are up to date, because if you listen to them, if you listen to the technical guys, what they talk about is that most of their infrastructure is outdated.
Yes, and just last weekend, for instance, I was, just because of, the light off sometimes, particularly when it rains, etc., I went to go and buy like 8 standalone solar lights, at a shop a mall I knew would have it. And other people were in that section, and, we were all comparing which ones. And although we all have generators, it's just that in between of, needing to put on these lights, to put on the generator, etc. But my point is, as a layperson, this isn't how one should spend their weekend, anticipating that should it rain, the lights might go out. And so apart from the generator, I must have a backup standalone solar light units, and then I'll get 8 of them in case something happens to the generator. So I'll have that in a... This is
the irony of the situation is that for as long as I have lived in Ghana, that has practically been the situation, which is sad, because the irony is that usually when it is raining, that is when you actually need lights the most. You get it? And when you need it the most is when they usually, it goes off, because there'll be something that probably you want to, and then there's no visibility. So imagine if there's some sad situation and some wire has fallen to the ground, you can't even see. You'll probably, though the lights are off, once it comes on, whoever is in that vicinity could get electric. I mean, there are so many...
Then I think that
parts of this
we've gotten to a point where there should be a deliberate government investment, all right, on solar energy and other sources of energy. If you go to some...
But there is some of that.
Yes,
that's
what I'm saying.
There was a plant, I've forgotten
it is capital intensive, but there should be a deliberate push.
Solar is much more cost efficient compared to maybe 10 years ago.
If you go to other jurisdictions, there's this processing of waste products in providing some industries with power. You understand? The waste we collect in this country is so much that if we are able to actually turn it around into power generation, is going to help some.
Okay. And for instance, in Japan,
I want us to cap off
just one last point. Like for instance, in Japan, when they're walking on the streets, as people are walking, they're generating energy because underneath the slabs they're walking on, it creates energy, basically, and that energy can be used for government. And so lots of thousands and thousands of people, if not millions of people, have to walk on certain walkways. So they've literally created an alternate source so that every time people step on it, it creates energy that can be used for electricity. So some of these novel things that perhaps...
Yeah, we need to be able to invest
things that government should look
in some of these innovations.
Yesterday, Sweetie mentioned it. It's something I've read of before. Why I don't usually hype up such bits is this.
It's expensive.
Exactly. You see, it's not cheap to do this because imagine the tech. You're putting panels beneath the surface of a road, but in such a way that when people step on them, the panels are sensitive enough to feel the step and draw energy from that to power something. In this country, we can't. There are some road no crying to me yet. You will go and fix that road, and the road itself will deteriorate. Do you get it? That's why sometimes I'm a bit careful about using some of these examples.
But adapt it to the African context.
I'm not denigrating what, but I'm just saying that sometimes we should focus on what can be done first.
If you look at the new buildings being put up by government, okay, they could have about 40, 60,
if you talk of buildings
of it in solar. Of course, I mean, the government, I'll give you an example. It's mostly not good to mention company names, but there is a hotel that if you are entering, Zimanski, okay, almost the entire, where the pool is, all right, they have a very huge slope. Almost all its air conditioners are solar energy, all right. He barely uses the main.
You're talking of a hotel. I know of someone's house and it's interesting. I look at these things in East Legon, around Mimpasem.
Yes.
And it's a lovely white building, has that colonial feel. The entire top of it is solar. So this person, and the good thing is that you can consume, and your excess, you can
shift it off,
contribute to the national grid. And
it's capital intensive, but it's at a long stretch, it pays off.
So to cap off on electricity, beyond the technical issues, that's the minister, there is a human factor. When the lights go off, people must respond immediately, not after 1 or 2 days. That is unacceptable. We are putting mechanisms in place to ensure a quicker response time and better communication. So the human factor as well. On the back of some of what you said, he said, in terms of the concessionaires,
yes,
that company must have capacity. I think this is important.
Very important.
Capacity, which includes financial capacity, technical capacity, and all the issues we are talking about. It's not like go and get some friends to come and take a contract. We are taking a transaction advisor, competitive bidding, competitive process, so they will get a very good company. We hope and pray that comes to pass. Then, Bank of Ghana is not injecting significant amount of dollars to support CD stability. That's according to the governor, Dr. Johnson Esiama. And he says that the central bank is pumping large volumes of dollars into the market to prop up the CD. He said the stability that we are witnessing now has nothing to do with the fact that we are selling reserves. That's what he said. All that we are doing now is strengthening the surge in inflows and implementing foreign exchange market reforms. It's the combination of these factors that is enhancing the CD's recent stability, he says. The title and but that's what the Bank of Ghana governor is saying. And any quick reflections, anything else you want to add? I see you, Amanda, trying.
Yes.
And then,
no, just the gold bond.
You should have a bite on the Bank of Ghana issue first, because I mean,
so let Amanda speak and then we can.
Yes.
I mean, just the gold board has signed agreements with 9 mining firms to buy 20% of gold from them, which is fantastic. And I think they've also extended the licenses for 1 more month for license holders. And just before we went on air, we were both discussing, because I thought, buying gold at spot rate less 1%, how much are you going to sell that gold to foreigners then? And then you said you agreed with it, and I was like, I think they could have bought it at a deeper discount.
No, of course. And I was telling you that if you're going to buy gold from someone and the person is offering you a discount of 8% or 5%, 6%, that is so much outrageous. It's either the person is buying from Galamseyers or then it means that the person is buying from smugglers. And so I agree that, I mean, Sami Jemfi and the minister have done so well. We ought to have some level of control of the market. Now, if we have control of the gold market, then we are able to actually hedge the prices, okay? Now, if we're able to do that, it means that at least we are able to build up our reserves. On the other hand, they should also put in measures to be able to deal with the issue of smuggling, because the price at which they are buying.
Exactly.
If it so happened that people decide to hold on to their gold, okay, and then the next thing they will do is probably smuggle it out of the country. So we should be able to put in measures to be able to deal with the smuggling.
Because gold...
Then the deliberate effort, just like other agencies do, like the Cocoa Board, the Gold Board should put in measures to get some monies from somewhere, whether a loan from a hedge fund or something, and invest into a consortium of people who have interest in mining, that pre-finance their activities and be able to get these gold. And if we're able to do that, I think that it would feed into.
But I'm sure government.
Forex.
I'm sure government is already doing that. Hence, you know, this sort of big push. But as the largest, I think we took over South Africa as the largest producer of gold. We took over South Africa.
And we have the purest.
Yes, and we have the purest gold. We have the best gold. So, you know, government is doing this so that the billions that leaves Ghana in gold, we control it more, we get more. But at the same time, we can't leave those who are part of this market disgruntled enough to smuggle more out.
And that is why.
And for instance, 1.5% withholding tax is going to apply. Minerals royalty at 5% annually.
Very important.
It's very
royalties
important.
Is very important.
It is very important. But at the same time, we must protect the stakeholders that are part of gold proper. Because this is their business.
The most important element to be protected is the country.
Yeah.
We should not lose so much.
Right. We'll be wrapping in a bit. Let me just add some of these stories and then we can get into. So Ghana fails for 5th consecutive time to attract investments into upstream petroleum industry. That's according to PIAC. And then banking on integrity, analyzing Ghana's 2024 fraud trends and the legal imperatives of the future. Those are interesting because when you look at the fraud reports and the fact that we have so many, you know, of those from the central bank or those from the banking sector themselves involved in this fraud, that makes for interesting reading. I will do graphic online, graphic.com, briefly, and then, because I don't want to miss, I don't know whether you were at the bar conference recently, I want to talk about that resolution with you, since you're a lawyer. Let's get into, so graphic says, President Mahama launches apprenticeship program, and there's also the nomination of judges for appointment. So let me just look at that. President Mahama nominates 7 judges for appointment to Supreme Court bench, and they are Justices Sir Dennis Dominica J, Simon Subare, Senyo Jamepe, Kweku Tewia Akabuafo, Philip Bride Mensah, Jampere Bartels Kwejo, and Hafisata Amel Boba. The 7 were nominated by President Mahama in accordance with Article 1442 of the 1992 Constitutions. And of course, according to the Judicial Service, the Judicial Council will consider the nominations, quote, in preparation towards the successive processes. This means that after the consideration by the Judicial Council, the 7 justices will have to be approved by Parliament in accordance with Article 1442 before they fully become justices of the Apex Court. I think this is what I will do from there. And I'll add this bit about the purported situation in respect of the resolution. I hear some 45 people. In fact, it's been extended to talk about the 5,000 lawyers in the country. Of course, not all of them will attend this conference. But the saying is that, the thinking is that of even the 200 who registered, it was only 45 who participated, supposedly, in this resolution. I don't know about forming a quorum. I don't know about that being the you know, the GBA's position.
But they are lawyers.
A lot of people have also come out to say, but how can 45 people? But you can't also discount the opinions of those 45. What is your thinking on these, the new nominations and this resolution?
I think it was...
Were you there?
I wasn't there. I wasn't there. I heard it on the radio.
I would have asked whether...
I wasn't there. I should have been. But, I mean, ultimately, I think it's a very bold move by GBA because Ghana Bar Association does not ordinarily get involved in political matters.
Does not ordinarily get involved?
Ordinarily, as in it doesn't take a firm stand. For instance, their first...
Are you surprised?
I'm very surprised because their first issued statement was very measured in terms of let's allow due process to come out and et cetera, et cetera. But I think what is basically going on with GBA is that because they're looking at this past the present Chief Justice, you see what I mean? For instance, with the Electoral Commission, the former Electoral Commissioner, it wasn't done ordinarily to remove such a post, but then, you know, there was a petition and she was removed. That sort of opened up this sort of doorway to us testing whether the same can be done in the CJ's case. And the danger here is beyond this current CJ, the danger is, should she be removed, one should make sure that she is removed after lots of steps have been gone through, due process, and it is because it has to happen.
I see you trying to say different things. I see you trying to toe the middle line.
I'm trying to toe the middle line because I don't want people to think that I'm partisan.
I want you to say
you can't toe a middle line.
I
told you already.
And so I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you. You're a member of the GBA.
Yes.
This resolution justified?
Yes, I think that we will not be good lawyers at all or worth our salt if, with all the facts before us, we don't have a strong opinion.
Have you seen the facts?
Well, yes. I mean, a lot of us have seen...
so you've seen all of it. Have you seen the extra 2 that were added to make it 5?
Look, the ultimate fact here is that this is a discretionary decision that can be taken by the president because petitions were presented to him and then he, in turn, presented it to the Council of State. So that is what we cannot question. The president has the discretion to take this further, etc. But what we do have a duty to do, because we have a long future ahead of us, you know, sometimes the problem with Africa is that we don't think in 100 years' time. You know what I mean? A lot of other developed countries, they think in terms of 100 years. So if we do that more often, we will look that this decision is not about the current CJ, but should that watershed happen, where some would argue some of the petitions were a little frivolous, and then it passes.
It could open a can of worms.
It could open up a doorway.
Box.
Yes, you know, it's a watershed moment that could affect the balance of the separation of powers and politicize the judicial even more, basically.
Renal.
Listen, my brother, the procedure for the removal of the CJ is very clear, explicit in our laws, all right? And from where I sit as a layman, I'm not a lawyer, reading black and white from the Constitution, nobody has erred. Due process is being followed. This is not the first time a petition has been raised against the CJ. But the question I want to pose to Ghana Bar Association is this. How did they find their voice now?
Why did they tell you they had lost their voice?
Gregory Afoko.
Do you think that GBA had lost his voice?
Yes, I didn't like the sort of neutral, completely, it's always neutral. Like, for instance, even the first statement they released, they might as well not have released it in relation to the CJ. It was just completely neutral. But I do think this affects the bar. If the judiciary becomes completely politicized every term, because again, this is a watershed moment, it affects the quality of what lawyers and what clients can expect when they go to the Supreme Court, etc. And then we have other decisions such as, you know, the new CJ is going to decide, or, you know, it's been issued, he's issued a directive that, you know, all court cases should be reported to him, etc. So she's been suspended already. The new acting CJ has...
So I get your point. But it didn't affect the bar when, and I'm not trying to equalize or, you know,
no, you
but
should
it didn't affect the bar when, you know, the Auditor General, for example, the ramshackle way in which he was hounded out. It didn't affect the bar because that affects all the conversations we're having here, corruption and the state of the country.
But
that didn't affect the bar,
at this level, the separation of power, I mean, I hold it very dearly.
Amanda, we have to go. So, you take the final bite and then
the point is that the Ghana Bar Association lost its voice for over 80 years. And I was giving a typical example of the Gregory Afoko case. A clear violation of human rights. Not even a single statement from the Ghana Bar. But I would advise the lawyers, just as the teachers did, it got to a time that NAT became so politicized until we started having other associations coming out of NAT.
Right. Gentlemen.
It is time that lawyers come together.
Gentlemen.
It is time that
I'm sorry you feel scandal.
Other associations emanate from the Ghana Bar Association. Until then, they would continue to be as hypocritical as they are being now.
But I commend the Ghana Bar Association.
They are.
Well, they've adopted a position.
No.
Of 45 people.
No. I commend them because this is a watershed moment. This is a watershed moment.
Issues that we're expecting lawyers to come out to speak on.
Right. I get your point. I get your point, but I can also, if they decide to vote a certain way, that's also their opinion.
Basically.
And you must respect.
But I am saying that
very
it is time that we have other associations coming out of the Ghana Bar Association.
Thank you. A very happy birthday to Benjamin Kofi Kwashi. He is chairman of the Council of Elders of NDC South Africa. Benjamin Kofi.
Ben.
Today happens to be, you know him?
Yes. Is he back? Because...
he's always out and about somewhere. So that's Benjamin Kofi Kwashi.
Yes, you met him.
Right there. Happy birthday to you from your team and from all of us here.
Happy birthday
to enjoy the day. And let me also acknowledge Waylead Company Limited, Waylead Properties. They actually sponsor the show. If you're looking for that great investment, right, that comes with flexible payment options, very good cost that will last the test of time, Waylead Properties has the best option for you. And they have a new development, Willow Lane, right here in the heart of Accra. You want to check them out, Waylead Properties. But joining me in the studio is this tall, lanky man whom I want to become an Ango soon. Ango. I usually call him Ango when I see him, and he doesn't like that because he says he doesn't have his Amaria yet. What's up?
Yeah, Ben. Of course, for the angle shape, we will have it, but...
Muftau Nabila Abdullahi did push-ups the other day. We put him to it. What will you do? Will you do
how many did he do?
He did about maybe 6 or something.
Oh, but I can do 10.
No. Would you like to do squats?
I can do 10.
Or would you like to do the...
I can do
my
10.
head, my shoulders?
I can do 10.
Okay.
You want 10.
What's coming up in sports?
Well, it's Wizkid Lamine Yamal, who more or less saved Barcelona from the jaws of defeat yesterday. I mean, he's proven that...
AKA blonde boy.
Exactly. He scored a stunning goal yesterday and then inspired Barcelona to a 3-3 comeback with Inter Milan. And we have the highlights for you.
But that boy, I saw
Oh, he's 17.
Did you see what he did with the king of Spain?
Oh, he did it to eat so many Italian defense. He's just wise beyond his age. 17 years. Even Messi did not do what he's doing now, I tell you.
But he's a fantastic player. You can't take that away
talent.
from him.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, Amanda Clinton, head of...
what team does Amanda support?
Does she have a team? Do you
I don't think Well, I ran for GFA.
Oh, yeah! Come to think of it, how could I have forgotten?
Football, so.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I won't disclose to the public who I support, but yeah.
After the show, I would ask.
I don't want to disclose.
I think we support Krobia Asante Kotoko. Anna.
Kotoko and RTU.
Kotoko and RTU. Krobia Asante Kotoko. Kuma Pema.
Apembeba.
I know what time it is. So, Amanda Akwoko, is that it?
Yes, Akwoko Clinton.
Clinton, head of Chambers Clinton Consultancy. Nanaya Osapong is with the Movement for Change. And me, I'm with the Multimedia Group. Yes, Haruna Mubarak, tall, lanky Ango. He's about to serve you sports. Nkao bobo to sell me yamal.
Akaka crowd and you with the dad.
Can be but off. Do stay for sports up next.
Sports now on the AM show. My name is Haruna Mubarak. Now, the Ghana Football Association President, Kurt Okraku, has acknowledged the delay in paying match officials, but assured that efforts are underway to address the situation. Speaking on Asempa FM, Kurt, who is now the second vice president of CAF, attributed the delay to start times due to unpaid funds, but is confident that the challenge will be resolved.
We are working around the clock to fix it. Tibi say, when I have finished serving and I'm gone, your people, your call for Mufubom should always remember me for my honesty to them. Last year around this time, last year around this time, wow. This year, challenges because of non-payment by start times. And that has delayed or that has affected your cash flow. Having said that, I think we have a very good working relationship with all the referees and all our match officials, and the FA will not stop at working towards making sure sometimes people don't know the quantum of money you're spending on match officials. Don't forget, Oba Premier League now, GFA NHL match officials, club no NGA. Oba Division 1 GFA NHL, Sakano GFA, Oba Women's Premier League, GFA NHL. Oba regional level now, GFA contribute to 300,000 Ghana cedis towards the payment of officiating. Now, overall, in a year, GFA is spending 7.5 million Ghana cedis on match officials alone. Wow. 7.5 million Ghana cedis on match officials. GFA absorbs our cost of our clubs. I don't know when I said see that Ghana football, but every year GFA absorbs 7.5 million Ghana cedis. Usually, and they say clubs and they're spending on match officials. But GFA, under my leadership, under the leadership of the ESCO, I absorb the cost of our clubs. 7.5 million dollars. They what I say. So whenever we have challenges with the payments from other partners, affecting Kakra, and this is the kind of situation I find ourselves. But the BCBR you make clear. Okay. That's the guarantee I made my match official, because so far they have behaved well. There's nothing like, and there's absolutely nothing like Obi Pulu out of the league. It's a false reportage.
Now, the University of Ghana is set to host the 7th edition of the West African University Games. Now, over 40 universities from the zone are expected to participate in the event slated for October 1. There's more in this report.
Having established itself as one of the top universities on the continent, the University of Ghana has been presented with another opportunity to further enhance its reputation. The university is set to host several institutions from West Africa for the Games, which commence on the 1st of October.
Of the local organizing committee for the 2025 West Africa University Games.
The launch of the Games also included swearing in of members of the local organizing committee. Here is the committee's chairperson, Mrs. Emilia Ej Mensah.
UG will be ready. As I said, we already have so many facilities in place. We successfully hosted the African Games in 2024, which was very, very successful. All the facilities are still in place. The various stadia, the various playing fields, the hostels for students, we are ready. But as we said during the launch, the games will not happen on their own, and we've put in place a very effective LOC. They are going to work hard. They've actually even started working already, and they are going to continue working hard to make sure that we deliver a very good games.
This marks the second time Ghana is hosting such events. President of the West African University Sports Federation, Shaibu Ibrahim Tanko explains the reason for the change in hosting rights.
We're trying to shift the focus on one country because it's always in Nigeria. So this time around we said Ghana should take it. Maybe next time around we'll send it to Senegal or Cote d'Ivoire or Togo. So that is, how we play with the hosting of the games.
With several disciplines to be contested and medals up for grabs, the Director of Sports at the University of Ghana, Dr. Austin Lugutera, is confident that his outfit will make a significant impact at the Games.
We don't want to be selective. We want to participate in every sport. Since we are hosting, it will be a disadvantage to select. But very well, we have been champions in athletics, both at FASU Games and even at the University Games. We have always come out first, so that's always a plus. We're looking at the issues of the games: volleyball, basketball, football, table tennis, and the rest. We're just preparing ourselves, and in earnest, we've already started. Since we are hosting, we don't want to use the normal balance, host and win, but we'll host and excel.
To the Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations, Sierra Leone have moved to the top of Group A following their 4-1 victory over the Pharaohs of Egypt. Elsewhere, South Africa, they also secured a 1-0 win over Tanzania to boost their hopes of progressing to the next stage.
All things being equal, I will obtain convictions on most, if not all, of the charges that I have preferred today. Besides the documentary evidence involving bank statements, deposit slips, check numbers, and so on and so forth, we have persons with deep knowledge of the matter who have agreed to testify at the trial. Persons with very deep knowledge, primary persons who were close to the action, have agreed after having been, interrogated, about what they know. They have agreed to testify in this matter. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, my fellow countrymen and women, between March 2025, when I announced the arrest and detention of Mr. Adu-Boahene and his accomplices, and now, there has been some speculation as to whether my press conference was yet another piece of political propaganda. Some media houses actually claimed that I had been deceived into holding the press conference and that I had in turn misled His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic. Let it be known that unlike some presidents in the past who were misled, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is on top of his brief and cannot be misled. Indeed, if any appointee would mislead the president, it would not be his Attorney General. So everything I have told the president, I have evidence to prove it, and the docket is replete with documentary evidence of the wrongdoing that has been investigated. Having said that, I wish to let it be known that the delay in filing charges came about because our diligent investigation team came across yet another scheme hatched by Mr. Eduahene, this time involving Ghana Water Company Limited. This criminal enterprise involved the purported provision of secured internet services to Ghana Water Company Limited by the erstwhile Bureau of National Communications, now National Signals Bureau. The contract document showed that Ghana Water was to pay BNC, that is the national BNC, the sum of 650,000 Ghana cedis every 2 weeks for secured internet services from BNC, that is the Bureau of National Communications. However, for purposes of the payment, Kobina Adu-Boahene provided the account details of his company, BNC Communications Bureau Limited, to Ghana Water, which religiously paid for the internet services. In other words, every 2 weeks when 650,000 Ghana cedis of money from Ghana Water left the bank accounts of Ghana Water, instead of going to the National Signals Bureau account, it went to the account of a company known as Bureau of National Communications, owned by Kobina Adu-Boahene and his wife. Okay? And then they did what they wanted to do with the money. So for every month, Ghana Water paid 1.3 million Ghana cedis to Kobina Adu-Boahene and his company in exchange for internet services provided by the government. Because remember that the National Signals Bureau is a government agency. Now come to think of it, that the government agency is providing secured internet services to Ghana Water Limited, a limited liability company solely owned by the same government. And Ghana Water is spending money that they do not have, okay, to pay for internet services at that cost, 1.3 million Ghana cedis every month. In fact, the figure rose to 1.5 million Ghana cedis every month at the close of our investigations. Now, you remember that in 2020, Bureau of National Communications became National Signals Bureau. And so, because the contract documents stipulated that the payments be made to Bureau of National Communications, Ghana Water then demanded that the check payments be made to National Signals Bureau because of the change in the corporate identity of BNC. What then happened was that any time the check was made out to National Signals Bureau and it landed in the accounts of National Signals Bureau, Kobina Eduahin, as Director of National Signals Bureau, would then immediately write a check to himself and transfer the money. From our investigations, you can see the movement of the money. Immediately it comes from Ghana Water, he signs a check and transfers the money into the, his personal company account. Now, today something happened in court. Counsel for the defense told the judge that whatever I had said was a figment of my own imagination. But of course, he is entitled to earn his fee. So he can say that. I have been briefed constantly and regularly. I've seen the evidence. And anybody who knows me knows that if I haven't seen the evidence, I won't be in front of you today. I've seen the evidence. The reason why some people have opted to testify is because they know that the case is watertight. So, counsel can continue to say what he's saying, but when we present the evidence in court, he will know that this is far from being imaginative. I have a very fertile imagination, but not in this case. So, ladies and gentlemen of the media, significant progress has also been made in other investigations being conducted in relation to the oral briefs presented to me in February. The investigations by the National Intelligence Bureau have been equally thorough under the direction of its Director General, Mr. Al-Hassan Kipo, and guided by the team in my office, most often led by the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Srim Sai. In respect of the SkyTrain matter, we have completed investigations and will be filing charges hopefully next week. We have established that $2 million United States of American dollars was paid by the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund without board approval. The only persons who knew and acted on the payment were the former CEO, Mr. Solomon Asamoah, and the former board chairman, Professor Ameyao Ekunfi. Both will be charged next week. The docket's ready. We know the charges we are filing against them, so they will be charged next week. Some of the board members have offered to testify as witnesses for the prosecution, and I am considering their offers. And usually what I do is that when you offer to testify, I sign an agreement with you. And I immunize you from prosecution either today or in the future. So that is what I'm doing with those who are making offers. So if you know, if you're a whistleblower, you know of any crime that has taken place, please come.
And of course, that's how we kickstart the conversation on the former Director General of the National Signals Bureau, Kwabena Adu-Boahene, who has now formally been charged with stealing, and he is facing multiple criminal charges over his alleged involvement in a procurement scandal that cost the state some 49.1 million Ghana cedis. And there you heard Attorney General Dr. Dominic Ayine, who yesterday at the High Court brought those charges, accusing Mr. Adu-Boahene and 3 others of misappropriating public funds under the pretext of procuring a cyber defense system for Ghana. The co-accused include his wife, Angela Ej Boateng, and Mildred Donko, as well as Advantage Solutions Limited. We'll be getting to counsel for Kwabena Adu-Boahene shortly, but let's take a look at these slides. So, Kwabena Adu-Boahene and the 3 others who have been sued, the statement of offense includes stealing, contrary to Section 1241 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, that is Act 29. Then stealing, again, contrary to Section 1241 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29. Stealing on the back of same, and conspiracy to steal, contrary to Sections 23.1 and 1241 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, that is Act 29. And then also defrauding by false pretenses, contrary to Section 13.1 of the Criminal Offences Act 1960, willfully causing financial loss to the state. I'm sure this brings back memories, right? Causing financial loss to the state, contrary to Section 1793A of the Criminal Offences Act 1960. Then using public office for profit, contrary, again, to Section 179CA of the Criminal Offences Act. Now, if we proceed from there, then collaboration to commit a crime, to wit, using public office for profit contrary to Section 179CB of the Criminal Offences Act, and then obtaining public property by false statements, contrary to Section 5 of the Public Property Protection Act 1977, that is SMCD 140, and that, of course, tied to some of the acquisitions that were purportedly made. Then money laundering. It gets deeper. Money laundering contrary to Section 12C of the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2020, that is Act 1044. And then conspiracy to commit money laundering contrary to Section 3 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2020, that is also Act 1044. So that's the tail of the tape when it comes to Kwabena Adu-Boahene and the charges against him and his alleged purported co-conspirators, Advantage Solutions Limited, and the 2 women, one being his wife. But joining us on phone, we have counsel for Kwabena Adu-Boahene, Samuel Atachia. He joins the conversation. Good morning, Mr. Atachia. All right, so let's check out what his response was yesterday before we get to him this morning.
I'll try reaching you again. I'll try. All right, I know you said you don't want to talk, but
any comment on what's happened today?
No comment, boss. So that I don't misbehave. The judge says we should come Friday for the Attorney General to show whether there are any residual investigations to be done, because he's insisting that Kwabena Adu-Boahene should be remanded.
Because they have some surveillance that shows that he's trying to interfere with investigations.
That is his say-so. That is his say-so.
You don't believe that?
At all.
Okay. Wish you all the best.
Officer.
Samuel Atachia there, of course, counsel for Kwabena Adu-Boahene. Well, having heard of his side as well, some of his responses to the charges leveled against his client. Let's now also bring in Lateef Idris, court correspondent as well. I nearly said parliamentary. Court correspondent who has also been on this beat following every last drop of information so that we can bring it to you. Lateef, good morning.
Good morning.
I would encourage that you speak up a bit. I can hear you, but it's very faint.
Yeah, can you hear me now? Is it loud and clear now?
It's much better, Lateef. Happy Mayday to you, one of our foremost workers here. You're always running around the place trying to get us information. Congratulations to you.
Same to you. Same to you in the studio.
Right. So what exactly transpired in court yesterday with these accusations now leveled against Kwabena Adu-Boahene? Walk us through what happened.
Yeah, so yesterday, the timing for that particular case, I mean, everybody said was unusual. But it turned out that the whole process started around 2 p.m. yesterday. So it wasn't as if it started around 4:35 p.m. thereabout. So when the case was called, Mr. Atachia introduced the other lawyers that were accompanying him, and he made it clear to the sitting judge that they appeared, quote and unquote, naked before him because of the, quote and unquote, emergency nature with which the case has been brought before him for the trial to commence. And so he appealed and prayed to the trial judge to adjourn the case or to reschedule the case to Friday so that they will come adequately prepared to argue out the case for the pleas of the 3 accused persons to be taken.
So Lateef, just a brief pause there. So it means at this point, the plea was because they were not clothed with the requisite information to be able to make any proper responses. Is that correct?
Exactly the point lawyer Atachia made to the court, that the 3 accused persons had not even seen the charges and that the bailiff had not even served it on them. Now, interestingly, the bailiff was also in court at the time. And so the judge sought to inquire from the bailiff what exactly happened. And he gave a very brief explanation, suggesting that, yes, one of the lawyers for the 3 accused persons was about signing. He started signing, and then lawyer Atachia came in and then asked him not to continue signing. And so he stopped signing, reason why they were not served. The judge, after listening to the argument and the pleas of lawyer Atachia, continued with his decision and said the pleas of the 3 accused persons and their company must be taken, at least because the court had spent some time. He expects them to do some business and not to go home without doing anything. Lawyer Atachia went on and said that there is no emergency as far as this particular case is concerned. And so he doesn't know why the Attorney General had rushed to the court at that odd time just to prosecute, his clients. So the judge gave Dr. Ayine, the Attorney General, the opportunity to also make his preliminary submission. Dr. Ayine on his part said that Mr. Adu-Boahene remains a flight risk. And according to Dr. Ayine, surveillance available to him shows that even though Mr. Adu-Boahene is on bail, he has attempted to interfere with a potential witness or potential witnesses that have not been called yet by the Attorney General with regards to this particular case. And so he doesn't want the judge to grant Mr. Adu-Boahene in particular bail. Dr. Ayine was magnanimous enough. He said he doesn't have a problem if the judge decides to grant bail to Mr. Adu-Boahene's wife and then the 3rd accused persons. He doesn't have a problem with that, but he thinks based on the information, based on the intelligence, based on the surveillance that he has seen, the briefing that he has been given, he is very confident that the first accused person, that is Mr. Adu-Boahene, is a flight risk, and he has attempted to interfere with the investigation.
Let's stay on that sticking point for just a bit, because in that interaction with Samuel Atachia, counsel for Kwabena Adu-Boahene, and the others, we also heard when you asked him about this information that had come to bear in court, that Kwabena Adu-Boahene had attempted interfering with some of these processes, with witnesses and all of that. He said that he didn't think that had happened. He wasn't in the know of any such thing, right?
Yeah, he said he doubts. So he cast doubt on the Attorney General's statement in court that he knows and he has surveillance that Mr. Adu-Boahene attempted to interfere with the potential witnesses. Mr. Atachia says he doubts that is true, and he doubts the Attorney General has any such surveillance on his client. So we will get back to this particular point, but after listening to the argument, the judge ruled that they should do the business and take the pleas of these three accused persons. Now, he also went on to suggest, because it became a very heated argument between Atachia and the Attorney General as to why the Attorney General wanted the court to deny Mr. Adu-Boahene bail. So the judge made a ruling that based on the information the Attorney General has given, saying that he has surveillance on Mr. Atachia's client, that is Mr. Adu-Boahene, he is given Friday, the 2nd of May, that is tomorrow, for an in-camera meeting between Mr. Atachia and Dr. Ayeni, the Attorney General, where he expects further disclosures to be made by the Attorney General with regards to the surveillance and the intelligence he told the court that he has, reason why he doesn't want the court to grant Mr. Adu-Boahene bail. Now, based on that meeting and then the outcome of that in-camera meeting with the two lawyers, that is the Attorney General and Mr. Atachia, the judge will then make an informed determination on whether or not to grant Mr. Adu-Boahene bail or allow him to enjoy the current court bail he is enjoying. Because if you recall, Mr. Adu-Boahene and his wife are on court bail, whilst the third accused person is on a police inquiry bail.
Right.
That is the bail all three are enjoying right now. The Attorney General wanted the court to curtail Mr. Adu-Boahene's court bail, but the court said it will allow that at least for today. Tomorrow, when they conclude the in-camera meeting, then he will make a firm and an informed decision or ruling whether or not to allow Mr. Adu-Boahene to enjoy his court bail or to curtail it and remand him into prison custody.
And so, in other words, come tomorrow, the Attorney General will be held to some strict proof, and what evidence he's able to adduce based on that, the judge's decision will be contingent on the weight of that evidence to determine whether or not to grant, in this case, that relief, maybe not a relief, but the bail term that the AG is seeking in respect of Kwabena Adu-Boahene, not the others, but specifically with regard to Kwabena Adu-Boahene, because he is seen to be a flight risk.
Exactly the point. So he seems to be a flight risk, and then he used the word, a lot of work went into the arrest of Mr. Adu-Boahene. According to the Attorney General, a lot of work went into the arrest of Mr. Adu-Boahene on when he arrived from the United Kingdom at the Kotoka International Airport, where he was picked up. And so they know, based on the intelligence, that he could leave the jurisdiction, and then he could interfere with potential witnesses. He could interfere with investigations. Reason why the Attorney General wanted the court to curtail the current bail condition of Mr. Adu-Boahene. But the trial judge was also magnanimous and said, at least let's give it 1 day. Today, go home, prepare adequately, come to me fully prepared, make your argument, show me the proof, show me the surveillance, and then based on that, I'll make an informed decision whether to grant Mr. Adu-Boahene his bail, which is currently enjoying, or to curtail it and remand him into prison custody. And yesterday, then we got to know about the fourth entity. That is and I'm sure you've already mentioned that the business set up by Mr. Eduahin, allegedly set up by Mr. Eduahin and his wife. It was the case of the Attorney General that when preliminary investigation started, Mr. Adu-Boahene and his wife denied any links with the company. They denied knowledge
that is,
of the company.
I think, Advantage Solutions, I believe.
Say that again.
I think it is Advantage Solutions. Is that it?
Yeah, Advantage. They denied every link with the company. But now, after thorough investigations, according to the Attorney General, they've linked Mr. Adu-Boahene and his wife to this particular company. In fact, according to the Attorney General, Mr. Adu-Boahene and his wife are directors of the company, and the wife is the sole shareholder of that particular company. But initially, when they were confronted, they denied any link with that particular company. But investigations have now shown that indeed they are the owners, directors, and shareholders of the company. That is an interesting twist. If it turns out to be true, the credibility of the accused persons will now be subjected to some strict scrutiny, and the court will make a decision on that.
Well, a very final bit, Lateef. Why is the AG so comfortable with focusing only on Kwabena Adu-Boahene in respect of these bail terms and not the other two accomplices, taking out the entity involved, the company? So I'm talking about the two women. Why is he so willing to not push in respect of their bail conditions?
Yeah, if you know the Attorney General, Dr. Ine, I mean, he's so magnanimous, and if you speak to lawyers, they tell you that Mr. Ine is a fine person as a human being. And so yesterday it didn't come as a surprise when he outrightly said he doesn't have any issue with the wife and the third accused person. In fact, the judge sought to understand why. He said, no, he doesn't have any issue with it. He's okay if both of them are allowed to be on the court and then the police inquiry bill. He's okay with that. He's fine with that. That suggests that maybe the Attorney General was not just speculating in open court. I mean, from my reading, I'm just guessing that maybe, just maybe, he wasn't speculating. Maybe he has something. Maybe he has his foot on something. Maybe the weight of the surveillance he told the court he has. Maybe the intelligence Mr. Aine or Dr. Aine told the court that he has is watertight in his own words. Just maybe. I haven't seen it. None of us have seen it so far. But Mr. or Dr. Aine says he has it and it's watertight. I'm just speculating that maybe is the reason why he insisted and opposed to the application by lawyer Atachia that all three be granted bail, but he insisted that Adu-Boahene be remanded into prison custody. Again,
you could say,
just maybe,
you
the
could
weight
say
of
that
the surveillance and the intelligence is very, very strong.
Right before you go, you could say that he's putting a human face to it, and that's at his discretion. At what time tomorrow are the court proceedings going to commence? At what time tomorrow?
So the in-camera meeting between lawyer Atachia and Dr. Ayeni, the Attorney General, is expected to come off at 9 a.m. And this is happening at the general jurisdiction of the High Court at 9 a.m. And this is in camera. So, I mean, we aren't going to be allowed to be there to know exactly how it will go down. But I'm sure that the decision of the judge or the ruling of the judge would paint a picture or will tell the story as to what exactly or the weight of what Dr. Ayini will present to him come that moment.
Lateef, thank you for walking us through the nitty-gritty of what transpired yesterday and, of course, what we can expect tomorrow. That's Lateef Idris. He is our court correspondent. Before we take a breather on this beautiful Mayday, are you thinking of a rewarding investment you can engage in? I'm going to proffer something to you. It is Waylead Company Limited, your preferred choice for such an investment, and I'll explain why. Waylead Company Limited is a real estate company with several developments to its credit right here in Accra, and I'm inviting you. Invest in our new development, Willow Lane, where elegance marries tranquility, right in the heart of Accra. We provide quality housing at an affordable cost and also with a flexible payment option. At Waylead Properties, we provide you with 24-hour security, reliable power supply, and other social amenities to make your stay memorable. All you have to do now, get your phone out, note these numbers, 0240 111 119 or 0504 499 999. Give them a call. You can also check them out on their website, www.waylead.org. We'll be back with more action on the AM show. Do stay. Welcome back. It's Mayday. Workers across the world are being celebrated. Here on the AM show, we have decided to spend some time with the women who sell what we eat and the men who drive us to work. Stay tuned for those interactions with the market women and the GPRTU. But first, we head to the Malata market, where guess who's standing by? Benedicta Ya Adobia Asare. She takes off from there to walk us through how these women who produce or sell what we eat are faring. Benedicta, over to you.
1st May, a day set aside to honor the spirit of labor. But beyond the great speeches and official parades are women and men who wake up early, some at dawn every day, to brave the sun and hustle. Today we are here at the Malamata market to hear their stories of how they keep showing up every day to keep their families fed and the economy moving. Come with me. Ma Pacho saying. Mawina Pacho, how long na waton mokono?
Oh, over 25 years.
Wow, 25. Na tambe na ya sorry anopa.
Anopa amediko jom. Anopa die be 4 o'clock, 4:30.
Debia.
Enye debia. Mostly me time Saturday at 3 o'clock. And amediko jom. Just a Saturday nso ya ha market day. And by 3 o'clock na ma sorry. Ti by 3:34 na me okro.
Adenti na ya obeton moko okrom ha.
Adenti na me beton. Me toma misumanya bibi ka credit. Nunti na meton.
Okay. Na edebia ba wa bread I say wa bread wo pese wo give it up. Na so still order so ba.
Ko yenti den me bread kra. Me ntumi hu me. Ase si akra ma bread makoda kakra na masanya ni. Abase me.
So that's Mawina Rice there. She's been selling pepper for about 25 years. She says that she does get tired sometimes. However, because she has to fend for herself and the family, she still has to show up. She was telling me right now that she went to take a nap and then she's back to selling because she was just tired. So we'll move on to the next trader. She sells ginger. I can see ginger on her table. She has hibiscus leaf, popularly known as sobolo. There is nkitten, there is pepper, there is bay leaf. Oh, there's a fuller seller here too. But I would like to talk to the woman who sells the ginger. Ma, good afternoon. Your friend was saying?
A friend me Priscilla.
Oh, Oh, okay, Priscilla. Patrol, what on Keke Drobe? How many years?
My son bear 5 years.
Okay. I didn't know ya or backroom habeton wade.
Oh, my backroom beton are there. They share my family members. Any me anga some.
Na Debia, tell me now, sorry.
Time I mean you mundi na me sorry bear 4:30. My see na my 5 for them. Me sorry 6:37, and I am sorry.
What for you but still was so beton wade.
It's all better one there because me won't call out. Masudi or send me show muso. It's definitely next me ba. But sometimes when say about the name koye there, member me to be twice or thrice a week.
But time I now on fire from you know what ba marketer na well him say what brain and so still buy.
Me ba. Because me get on call me wasudi o want say me ba.
Kolana te was
Selba.
Okay, sure, yeah, that's baby. So that's Priscilla. She sells spices, ginger, hibiscus leaves, and kete, pepper, rosemary. I see garlic, among so many other things. So she says before she got pregnant, she was coming to the market 4:30, 3:30. I mean, she was coming to market at dawn. But now that she's pregnant, she comes around 5. But that's still early. That's still very early. And then because of the children, no matter how tired she is, she still has to show up. And that's resilience right there. We'll talk to our auntie here. My friend was saying.
Promise.
Promise. Oh, beautiful. Ma Pacho, how long no aton ade o mala mataha?
Oh, 7 years ni.
7 years. I didn't know aton ade wa.
Oh, mi ton ade apɛ sika kakra. Mi ton ade afɛ me banum so.
Na tell me na how sorry.
Oh, nkola no ko school by 4. Na ma sorry. Na ma ahwe omo ko wi a afɛ de nem so masimu.
Na de bia sa na ya no for 7 years no de bia sorry for.
Oh, so mo ma kwan dia. Me sorry for. Mo ma kwan me ti me relax. Do de bia 5:30. Na ma sorry.
Na waba marketer wa yare and so buy.
Oh, yare there say serious there me ba me ko hospital. Nanso eto de bia ebrewa wo se bia me ti ye me ya nti me nu medru say para bia me pe ya ma nya bibia di me dia na mada kakra every day me sorry me say my okay a na ma simu.
Okay, so nim so na your workers day. Uhu day ne sen den eye ma.
Oh, workers day there. Celebrate anka baby a holiday say no say me me ba no mo yen pie kakra yen ko gi ahome na gi yani mankola no so gi yani
na efutu ben so nim say young girls are eba yen nyina pese yen sika me se pese me sika o efutu ben na wo ma me ene other young girls are ye pese yen sika but yen sika pa
oh futu ametimi ada ma young girls ni say wa wo ye we djuma wo nye sika eye ene ensese enfa ye ni sutu be maso be ma do betimi ama na sese so suje bibi na so fa support afie enu de nya de bia na obe ma enti esese yentimi yiri ye hu emma de wo ye emma de sese wo yiri hu na wo su nye djuma na wo su ubua obusuafo se bibi hia wo fie a wo su betimi agina mu aye.
Auntie Promise me that's a pass. So my highlights from what Promise just said is to be independent. She's not saying be totally anti-men. I have to say this. She's saying that you can get help from a man, your husband, your whoever it is. But as a woman, you need to also be self-reliant. You need to be doing something with 2 hands and not be overly dependent on the man. That way, it will help you grow and have your own money.
Missy Watchman. Miss Herbal one mo. Hey, Miss Obia me watchman ejuma.
I don't think.
O say.
Think.
It's 55.
And how long na waton ade o malata?
Oh, more than 25 years. It's in Colabrum.
It's in Colabrum na waton ade o malata ha. E sen na ayama o.
Say the enkoyi.
So first na ye kakwa.
First the na ye.
Na wa ba market a wo yare da na wa bre enso na wo se wo ba.
Ma bre enso na se me ba. Because your cause is going to see stress, said that. So die in ye. And so we turn the another scan manera. Say, Lona, I'll call you crass, say, Ubomodiana, we.
Auntie, that's a part. Sure. Okay, so we have another grocery seller here. A very beautiful woman I spoke to earlier. Ma, Pachomaba, your first saying?
Ma Florence.
Okay, Auntie Florence, Pacho, what on there or Malata for how long?
Oh, since I woman, Anna, yet
te no mama hye adwade asia me mama hu be gogo no na me so me farm enti no ye hye asia ache pa
Tambe na sorry.
Oh, normally no me sorry 4 o'clock. Ama hwe fie dwuma kakra. Sama be sian kokuru akofa niama. Ansa na ma ba be hyedwa.
What ba market our bread and also still na e wo se oba.
Ye ba na se ye bre kra na ye dwuma no nti no. E bomoden se ye be den, ye be susu mu sa. Ye yare kra na ye pepils bi fa. Ye fa wie pe. Na asa hye ye dwuma de ase. Se ne de e normal. Normal.
Advice by na woma youth almost omo ba on pese omo nye sika womo ho.
Well, they say youth na ba no, bebe na mpe dwuma. Bebe mra pe quick money. Na so benya quick money no so be bre. Na so omo do mo pese omo bre pese omo nyanefo. Benya no fo be fa obe bransa na wanya. Te no me advice am man say, say ya ma yesi so no. Esi ya de be boa yan kasa ye ho. Ansa na yenya ye kafo a omuso ma support yen se me advice no na se ye bo modern ana yeti me boa ye ho
Auntie Florence Patrick that's a Misha. So Auntie Florence here is a grocery seller. She sells tomato puree, she has salt, basically so many things we use in cooking. And she's saying she's essentially said some of the things the promise said earlier. She said to be self-reliant. She says the youth these days want quick money, don't like to work, and that's not a good thing. So people should endeavor to work hard. They should find something doing to be able to fend for themselves and not to be overly dependent on other people. Now she also says that she's been here for a very long time and that no matter how tired she gets, she still has to come here and sell. The woman we spoke to earlier who sold the cassava and plantain was talking about how she has also been in this business for a long time, but then things are not the same way as it was how she knew it some years ago.
Me started on Eduahin, na me sha, on Eduahin ha che ye pa. Me to be solid 12 and I draw. E ko fie nyumre be 10. Me to be solid 1, me to be solid 2. Time bia me to be solid.
Na patro body ni kokona na waton sa.
Banche body ni abe. Eno ana me mama ne ye wa na mama ye film na aka me nti eno ana me ye.
Na wa ba ejuma na wa bread and so still ba na we yare na still buy.
O bre kora obeba e nkana brabo. Abrabo ne ye den bo afo ni ho a wo ye den a wo beba. Wa afo ni ho dia wo beba. Wa bre kora obeba. O yare a wo beba.
Some also start ejuma na che. Te na etie ne se na etie sisi ano. Wo difference ana.
Se ne ye koyenim. Bibi eni wo ebe sesa. Abrabo na ye den. Se ye den pa sen first. Nanso first for no so be ka se ye den. Because sen ye tia na tia abrabo ne ye tia na ti ginyame na be sesa amaye.
So Patrick Felsen.
Me di Andrina.
So that's Andrina also talking about her resilience. She's been selling here for so many years. She says she used to sell here with her mom when she was very little. Her mom passed and then she's taking up the business. So they may not wear cloaks, they may not wear suits and clock up in fancy offices, but this they do right here, feeds nations and drives the economy. On workers, they want to salute all market women and men for their resilience and for being examples for some of us. For Joy News, my name is Adu-Boahene.
Well, we did say that as we celebrated those who sold what we ate, we would also celebrate those who drove us to work, those who ensured that we moved from point A to point B. And Benedicta Adobia Asare is back on the beat. This time she's at the Agbogloshi Trotra station, engaging some of those who help us commute.
Amadu Abubakar.
So I'd like to start with Uncle David here. How long have you been driving?
Yeah, driving my driver check, me license 1970. Yeah, until me driving about 35 years now. So my driver check, until me driving different kind of trucks. That this time currently me drive Trotra.
Now distance ben na ya oko.
Me run Kaswa Agboglusi Nyanya no Liberia camp. Ehona sisia me run.
Na nyama ben na emma wotumi eba eye adwuma. Sometimes when him say mutumi bre, adenti na still obe.
Yeah, the moment I wa hondi a Nyankopon aboa ama wanya wonsa na adwuma bi ti say driving you know. And you can say me kase me tra ho e was say no na me ya me de hwe mabusua me de boa mabusua me nkwala eno nti the moment I me wa hondi de adwuma no mekoso ara ye den aye e hye me nkran say me ye den me ye driving adwuma eno na me wo mu a me ye eno na hye me nkran eno na me ye e de ye den edididi. Yeah.
So while we are at it, his car is loaded and is about to settle, so he has to take leave of us. But Uncle David here says he's been driving for about 35 years, and what keeps him going is his responsibility as the man of the house, as a father. He has to take care of his children, his wife, and his strength comes from the Almighty God. And so he'll take leave of us, but then we'll continue with the rest of them. This Uncle Haruna, right? So, how long have you been driving?
Around 30 years, since 1995. But driving side, no, I say, there's a different challenges. It is a who started Juma say, never be brave to never be brave. Now, so Koba, who they as a dama allow say, with the Yamasi say, Bakwaba. Now, as at now, yeah, Juma face a lot of challenges, we must say. And there's a long cool. Na niema bo eye kakra lorry friends so na as are coming to 2018 2020 bano and are facing a lot of problem yejman na but son juma yasua esi yeso yebeboa amanfo na omusoma boaye. Now, as at now, it is a lorry fare fuel at this Now, but a Juma, no, is it be a lorry fare and one, no, be a Edman, and yet.
Yabeba ehonum no bampese mema omo te asie first answer. So this is Haruna. He's been driving for about 30 years, and then he also is a staunch Muslim who believes that it's God who takes care of him, who's taking care of him all these 30 years. He's acknowledging that drivers have their own challenges, but then because of the strength of God, he keeps showing up every time. We'll come to the challenges, but I want to talk to Uncle Bernard here. Uncle Bernard, how long have you been driving?
For 45 years now.
Wow. Why do you drive? And it means you must really love the job.
I think it's my hobby and my destiny. So I think I feel proud when I'm driving. Yeah. And through driving, I've been able to look after my kids well. Yeah.
So let me ask you, do you have fears? Have you ever had any fear as a driver in your life?
So many times. Especially when I try to escape some accidents. There will be fear, panic before you through that you are able to escape it.
So despite all these fears, what is that one thing that keeps you moving forward, that causes you to show up all the time?
It's all courage. If you have the courage and the love of the job, I think there's no problem about it. You go on it. You can't say because my child died through a river, I will not drink water. Yeah, so because of that, you go through it. And that is how it has been.
Okay, hold for me. Let me come to Uncle Imoro. Oh, let me just come to you. So how long have you been driving?
I'm driving, it's about 40 years now, since before Rollins era. That's I've been driving, yes.
And then you love your job?
Yeah, I love my job very well because it's a job that if you take your good well of the job, you meet your end days, anytime you close, you know that today I've been to work, I've been able to achieve something. You'll be able to take care of the children up to the university level itself. I'm able to take care of my children through this work. So I always advise my colleague drivers that when you drive, you must save. When you save and you know what you are doing, you make good of it.
Okay. So I'll come back to you with a very interesting question, but let me come to Uncle here. How long have you been driving?
Backcountry.
But you're driving how many years?
Mine about 45 years.
Wow. A day now, minimum says sometimes move to me yare, what bre, I didn't still baba ejuma.
Me fear, me tana fear, mbagu.
Nti me ba adwuma no kakra no na me exercise na me ye. Nti na me ba.
Sa road safety ni ade. Once someone say don't drive tired, nti adinti na se wa brake kra obepese obe driving. Ana eno ye different to resting.
Yeah de no ye Trotra. Long journey na se wanya ese wonja eko. But kromo de oba ye no exercise kakra na tambia no na also onya honde.
So from my highlights from what he just said is that as an old person or when you're growing in this business, you need to, restrict yourself from doing long distances, long journey. So at his age, he does a lot of Trotra. That is the short distance journey. He doesn't do long journey. I think that's also very important. Now I want to throw this question at all of them. Have you ever been appreciated by a passenger before? Passenger be a catch us or that's it. Now send a email officially.
Okay, me feel good say what that say. That time no na can be ba me lemu but I try to na me so every until free me car first time, second time no catch me so. Say na me drive no opepa na me run no car fast. That time na as on one lane. And you na the one lane. Until you na and say when double lane na one lane. Until na challenges will come pa
passenger ma who say now that how about you, Uncle Bernard? Has a passenger ever appreciated you and how did it make you feel?
Very often, and I appreciate it because when you do something good and somebody sees you that you've done well and he gives you the praise, you have to take it. So I appreciate it, and all depends upon the way you drive. When you drive well, you get it. Yeah.
How about you, my uncle? Have you been appreciated before?
Yeah, very often. Because the way we drive from beginning, you even sleep, even if from here to Doko, you even sleep in the car. Because
so people are comfortable enough to sleep in your vehicle.
Yes.
How does that make you?
I feel okay because that's why I drive that way. Anytime they appreciate me, tell me, oh, Papa, where you there? Who to come? Come at all, young parent. That's how it is.
Now, patrol, passenger ni biya dawaseda. What drive you be ma what dawas say me das.
Bebere kwa.
Ma send ma feel.
Oh, because almost a year say no ya want to boasie. Ne drive no ya pray and ya grigiri. Ya for mo asungwe mo akwasi mo asungwe mo. Onu mu ka no kwa nkomodie kura no o mo neje ho. So
he feels fulfilled anytime a passenger. Sorry, viewers, there's been a little hitch here, but it's okay. He feels fulfilled anytime a passenger appreciates his work, and he says the key to keeping passengers safe is patience on the road, and that's very important. So I'll be moving to the next person to find out from. Okay, gentlemen, please let's calm down. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. So okay. So what do you think you can do to should I say? In fact, let me start with what message do you have for passengers who board your vehicles?
Passengers no. Eto de bia ebumu omubu fufiti fie ansa na omudu krom nti omudu krom a ebia bibikitu ebi oni mate for na aye problem gidi ntokwa na niama ebia ni buefu fie dada nti omudu krom no wosanka onto no bono ebia embanisa nti eto de bia ye no mo no ai say formula nya nti omuba ya eto de bia muso muntu mo boma mate for no kakra se na ebe ya nti asie ne ebu be because ubu open ubu akwara na akwara bu na se ubu akwara ntumi mbu so that ye nim sa de no nti esro mo say amuso mo ntomo buma metifo na niama.
So Haruna here is saying that we passengers sometimes get too angry too quickly because we're already pissed from our various homes, and then we come and extend our anger on the passengers and their mates, which is very bad a thing to do. So we'll just talk to Uncle David here. What message do you have for your passengers?
Well, just to take patience, because normally we all love the passengers. Through them, we get our daily bread. So we expect them to also comport themselves. But most of the times, these passengers just look on us that you are look down on us that these drivers what do they have but you might see drivers. Gone are the days when drivers go to chop bars and buy fufu 1 cedi and fish 9 cedis. These days drivers in town, if they don't have at all, they have got 2 rooms, 3 rooms, 4 rooms, because the union is taking that privilege to give all drivers their houses. So there's no driver who is useless now. So we are pleading to them to have all the patience for us and give us the due respect.
Okay, I'll come to you to same question. What message do you have for all passengers in the country?
Said it all. They should have patience whenever they come to board our cars, because we are also patient. So they should be patient with us, especially our mates and whatever.
So our lives are in the hands of God, but somehow in your hands too when we sit in your vehicles there, right? Okay. So patience is the key?
It's the key. Okay. Patience is the key. Yeah.
Now, Patrona, where message ben our passengers?
Passengers for the bomb by say, Yankupo Maya no munina anoe bakun. Na tembiano, Agumano beden, Enkosuma Yanu munina. Because and a momunti and a yato casano. Kanya private car, a passenger car. No, the bar, not so a passenger, hey, watching one car over furu. One furu. And you know, as a young boom and a Adu-Boahene and Dorsu. Well, no, from so Matanipa, Ebia said a Wutino, Eba passing your baba furu cano, and Yasano, what is a woom boom no better, Ubanyabo try Amano. Because here we be on her.
Yeah, that's it. So the key here is patience from the drivers and the passengers. The drivers wants the passengers to be patient, and the passengers obviously also wants the drivers to be patient. So patience is the key here. So there you have it. Adu-Boahene, I was here to honor the wheels behind our workforce, the people who are keeping the nation in motion, the people who, you know, show up every day to make sure we get to work and wherever I want to go to. So Benjamin, over to you in the studio.
Thank you very much, Benedicta Adu-Boahene. We fondly call her a certain name in the studio, but that is Benedicta Adu-Boahene there, taking us to both ends, going first to the Malata market and then the Agboglushi, Trotra, GPRTU membership as well. But for now, let's also hear from the Minister of Labour, Jobs and Employment, the Honourable Dr. Rashid Hassan Pelpour. This is his message on Workers' Day.
I bring you greetings on this very important day today, the Mayday, which is Workers' Day. On this day, I extend my heartfelt appreciation to all Ghanaian workers whose dedication, resilience, and hard work continue to drive our nation forward. As we commemorate Labour Day, let us reflect on the progress we have made together and renew our collective commitment to decent work, fair wages, and safe working conditions for all. The government remains steadfast in advancing policies that promote job creation, protect workers' rights, and ensure dignity in labor, especially in a rapidly changing world of work. Happy Labour Day to every worker across Ghana. Your contribution is a backbone of our development. Afishapa, and God bless you all as you move our nation forward and give us the development we require, especially in a situation when we are resetting this country. We wish you the best. Thank you.
And that is the Minister for Labour, Jobs and Employment, of course, Dr. Pelpour there. We take a breather. When we return, more interactions on the AM show. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the studio as we gear out of our big stories into other conversations. And we're going to be interacting with I Care, and they do care, but I'll be telling you about what exactly this is all about. Joining me in the studio, I have Dr. Redeemer Amegbo-Dela. He is founder of the I Care services. And if you're thinking of iPhones, think of I Care as well. Doc, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
It's good I was able to get a smile out of you at the start of the conversation. But tell us about this entire outfit, I Care services. What is it all about?
Yes, I Care services is purposely established to train, to render health care services, and to give jobs to people. And so what we do is that as we train, we employ. We go out, look for employment for our students that we train. And so we'll not just train you and leave you to look for your own work.
Not just be there hanging.
Exactly. Yes, so that is what we are about. Render health services, we educate, and we offer jobs.
I see. Yeah. And in that respect, I might as well also say Happy Workers' Day to you.
Thank you.
Since you are part of the job creation bit in Ghana. But then I also want to know about your I Care College of Science and Technology.
Yes.
Since that's another wing of your training. In fact, you have many wings.
Yes.
But let's talk about the I Care, College of Science and Technology.
Yes. In I Care services, I Care College of Science and Technology, what we are training in is ICT, healthcare training, and then we are training also in German language.
Oh, German?
Yes. The reason is that we are very fortunate. Our church, IFGF, we went to a conference, and then our bishop in Cameroon have been helping their church members and people in Cameroon to Germany to work. And so our discussions, he said he can help us so that our students can also get the opportunity to go to Germany and work. The German government is looking for health workers. And so as we speak now, we are training people in German language, in ICT and healthcare. The program is a one-year program with us here in Ghana, where you will be trained in these courses I've mentioned. And after that, we process you to go to Germany to go and being trained again by the German government because they look at their standard. So with 3 years, the German government will train you. And whilst you are being trained, the interesting part is that you are paid part of your salary. And when we equate it into Ghana cedis, it's 25,500. That is what you'll be taking as a trainee with the German government. And after the training, they will train you for 3 years. And after that, they'll give you full employment where you work with the German government until retirement. So it's a great opportunity. And our bishop loved us so much and sending this opportunity to us also in Ghana here. So that is what we are doing currently. So as you hear me right now or see me, I want you to please come to our school, I Care College of Science and Technology at Afienya Toll Booth, Shell Filling Station, to pick your admission form. Then you will be part of it. The requirement is that you should be SS graduates, pass very well. Then we will give you admission. Or you are university graduates who is willing to work in the health sector. Every area of health sector, not limited to nursing alone. Lab technician, physician, assistant or a physician, you want to be a nutritionist, you are welcome to I Care College of Science and Technology. That is what we do. And that the ICT that we are doing is being accredited by UK Examination Board. When you do our program, you will write UK exams and you will have certificate from UK Examination Board. We have a foundation in UK which is called Success for All by Dr. Caroline, who is coordinating the program for us from UK. And also, MVTI gave us accreditation for healthcare. So when you are trained, at least for the 1 year before you go to Germany, you would write MVTI exams in healthcare. And so by the time you are leaving the four corners of Ghana, you are well prepared for you to go and have your time in Germany and to work, and you earn good money. Nice. So that is what we are doing.
This is an interesting, angle to it, especially I love the linguistic angle. So yes. you get something to work with.
Exactly.
And you're able to tap into a specific market. But there's also the angle of RADMEF International, yes. an arm under iCare Services.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that.
RADMEF International is positioned to place workers or our trainees. So once you are trained from the college, we hand you over to the department who would look for work for you that you are employed either in Ghana here or in outside the country. So that is what RADMEF is about. RADMEF International is doing. Yes.
And beyond RADMEF, there's also an NGO arm.
Yes.
It appears, what don't you do? Because it appears you do quite a lot,
yes.
all of these arrangements.
Yes.
But let's talk about the NGO arm when it comes to iCare Services.
Yes. The NGO is well placed to help the vulnerable.
Okay.
Now, in education, we have seen that ICT is what a lot of children are lacking. So the iCare Foundation is in to train people for free, especially in the rural areas where there are no computers. You will not see even one computer or even a mouse. So we train people and send them out to go and train the young ones. So the volunteers, we are currently looking for 100 volunteers to train and pay them at least 1,000 Ghana cedis every month. We'll send them to the communities to go and train these young ones for free. And at the end of the training, they'll be having UK certificates that will help them in the future. Those who even finish their JHS or SHS, they can, after training them, they can use the certificates to work. Now,
in these areas,
yes.
I mean, the places, like you said, they may not have even seen a mouse.
Yes.
Talk of a computer.
Yes.
How then, do you provide computers alongside?
Yes.
So they use that for the training?
Exactly. We have laptops that we send to the centers. We have UPS that will connect with our projector that will help us to do the training. Okay. And that's what we do across the communities where there is no light, for example.
What are some of the communities you've been able to reach out to?
Yes, we
of this drive.
Exactly. We reach out at Eduahin. We trained students over there. We went to Akosombo School Complex. We came to Afienya St. Xavier School, Mataheko School, and the Best Care School. Those are the schools we have trained so far. And we have some that have come to us for assistance. So as we are speaking, if you are hearing my voice or you are listening to me, and you are in the community where, for example, a school where you don't have computers, you can get in touch with us. We can help you train your students for free. That is what the NGO is doing now. And also, the NGO is into sponsoring footballers. If you are a footballer and then you want assistance, once you join us, we will be able to assist you, for you to polish you well, for you to be able to go out and get something to do. So these are some of the things that the NGO is doing and helping those that are in need.
Your tentacles spread far and wide, because that's not all. You also have the iCare, Herbal Center. You have your IFGF. I would like you to elaborate on the IFGF as well.
Okay.
Then you have a prayer center. I want you to lump all of them together.
Yeah.
What do they do, respectively?
Okay. Now, at our Herbal Center, iCare Herbal Clinic, we take care of people who are having serious cases, especially fibroid. Fibroid is a headache, and you use various medicines, you don't get solution. God being so good, we have the grace and we have the gift of using herbal medicine to treat. So when you come to our center at Afienya Toll Booth and Germany, in the Volta region, South Dine, when you ask of eye care, you will see us where we would use herbs to remove fibroid for you. And we treat other diseases as well at the eye care Herbal clinic. The prayer center, what we do is that when you come, we will not just give you medication, we would pray with you, and we would help you if you are having spiritual challenges as well. Some people may be using medication, they will not be having solution because they might be having spiritual challenges. So our prayer center, which is IFGF, International Full Gospel Fellowship, we help people, pray for you, and then we give you medication that at the end of the day, you go home happy and well treated.
Right.
And so anybody that is having challenges one way or the other, either spiritually or physical ailment, you come to Eye Care Herbal Clinic and Prayer Center. We will help you.
All right. Time to knock off, but where can you be located? Eye Care Services, the umbrella group, and what are your phone numbers?
Yes. We are located at Afienya Toll Booth on Akosombo Road, Shell Filling Station. That is where you will see us. We are also located at Germany Main Station, South Dine District in the Volta region. Our phone numbers you can reach are 0555 343 144 and 0200 848431.
Right. Yes. Doc, thank you for joining the conversation.
Thank you so
keep
very
up the yeoman's job you're doing. That is Dr. Redeemer Amegbo Dela. He is founder of Eye Care Services, and he joined us right here on the show for a conversation. Stick and stay with us. When we return, we have a conversation with the Federation of Ghana Medical Students Associations, and they will be elaborating on the National Health Week Project 2025. We'll be giving you details of that after the break. Do stay. Well, here we are engaging our medical students. I told you about what you can expect in the conversation, and here we are having that conversation. Joining us in the studio, Otis Mbayur Ngoga is President, Federation of Ghana Medical Students Associations. And then we have Hilton Terry Dansokesi. He is National Health Officer, Federation of Ghana Medical Students Associations. I know Hilton will not tell you the joke I cracked with him, right? We were talking about heads. But gentlemen, thank you for joining the conversation.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Let's start with a bit about the Federation of Ghana Medical Students Associations. Otis, would you like to tell us about this group?
Yes. So the Federation of Ghana Medical Students Associations is the national umbrella body for over 6,000 medical and dental students across the 7 medical and dental schools in the country. And as an institution or as an association, we are committed to equipping medical and dental students with the skills that is needed for them to be involved in national and international healthcare advocacy programs. And for the Federation, we are recognized by the Ministry of Health, we are recognized by the GMA, that's Ghana Medical Association, and then we are also part of the International Federation of Medical Students Association, which is a global platform that is affiliated to the United Nations through the WHO. So that is just the nutshell of what the Federation of Ghana Medical Students Association stands for. Yeah.
Okay, so that's quite a group you have there, bringing everyone together, right? Maybe you guys, you don't want to walk alone, so you never walk alone. I'm not a Liverpool man. Make no mistake. I'm a strong Manchester United.
Oh, then we are in the same camp.
We're in the same camp.
Yes.
I said, but we'll talk about that later. That's a side issue. Why would you say you are here on the back of what Otis has said?
Okay, so thank you once again, and then thank you to your viewers and listeners. Okay, so the FGMA, that's Federation of Ghana Medical Student Association.
we have a flagship program that we call the National Health Week Project, and where we try to embark on, we take a particular health issue and then we trumpet it, we advocate for it, and then we raise awareness for about, we usually start from May to October. We do it every year. And we are here today to talk about the National Health Week Project for 2025, and which is going to be launched very soon. That is on the 3rd of May. It's going to take place at KNUST Medical Village. And we want to raise awareness and then also draw the attention of the public to such a program. The program is on cervical cancer, and the theme for the program this year is Together We Can, Ending Cervical Cancer and Other Human Papilloma Virus-Related Diseases, one step at a time. Yes, one step at a time. So basically, that is why we are here today.
Okay, so we'll discuss the theme in a bit, but can you give us a bit of a background to the National Health Week project?
Okay, so like I said initially, it's the flagship project when it comes to the Federation of Ghana Medical Student Association. The Federation is made up of 7 medical student associations across the country, and every year we embark on such a program, and it's implemented in all the jurisdiction of all the 7 medical student associations. So over the years, right from the beginning of medical training in Ghana, it's something that is being done. At first, it just used to be only KNUST and then University of Ghana Medical School, but it has spread to other institutions. There are several awards and several recognitions that we've had, which we were recognized by the WHO, World Organization, for the effort we've placed in, and it has continued until now. Last year, we had the program on STI, and we worked towards reducing stigma. And this year, we are focusing on cervical cancer and then HPV. All right.
So let's get to the theme, Otis. HPV, I've seen images in the past when it comes to HPV and what it can do in extreme cases, and that can get crazy. But that's also cervical cancer related, right? You fuse the two together. Why the focus on this?
Okay. So first of all, the human papilloma virus, that's the HPV, is a group of viruses, all right? Over 200 of them, and then 40 of those types are sexually transmitted. And they basically, some of them cause cervical cancer and other conditions as well.
That's the hardcore group.
That's the hardcore group, exactly.
Those who have decided
to be
show us something small.
Exactly, yes. And the funny thing is that 4 out of 5 of us, 5 people, would get the HPV infection one time in their lifetime. But you can get the infection and then it will be cured. But there's hardcore ones, like we said, can persist. And then when you get the persistent infection, then it can sometimes give you the cervical cancer. And the reason why we're actually sticking to this particular theme this year is because when we look at the global statistics, over 620,000 people get cervical cancer, that's the women, and then 70,000 people also get it, that's the men. And in Ghana here in 2022 alone, we had almost more than 2,000 people getting cervical cancer, and then almost 1,900 of them dying out of it. And so you get to realize that there's a very huge problem, or a very huge burden in the country that we're trying to solve over here. So the theme we chose, Together We Can, Ending Cervical Cancer One Step at a Time, is to bring or to emphasize on unity and a collaborative effort towards ending cervical cancer. Okay, and then Together We Can here means that everyone needs to come on board. We are calling everyone, that's the youth, policymakers. We are also calling on the general public to join the fight against cervical cancer. One step at a time here means that every small action, all right, every small action, be it raising awareness, getting vaccinated, or getting screened, when it is done consistently and collaboratively for a very long time, it would definitely amount to a national impact. And that is why, as a national body, we feel that in our own small way, as medical and dental students who are in training, we can contribute our quota to national development.
You've mentioned at least twice now that this is your flagship project and all of that, but what have been the achievements in the past that you can share with us?
Yes, so in the past, thank you. So in the past, we've had, like I initially mentioned, we've had several awards. I wasn't even in the medical school by then. Our predecessors championed. So there was Ghana, when Ghana was rolling out the DOT therapy for the management of TB, that is a tuberculosis. They leverage medical students, that's the Federation of Ghana Medical Students Association, intend to actually continue to trumpet or campaign on that. And that really made a lot of impact. And now TB is there, but isn't much a problem that as it used to be. Like last year, we had awareness on STI to reduce stigma, which we worked with WHO, UNAIDS, and Ghana Health Service to trumpet. And it was actually a nationwide project. We continue with even another project with that called Shondayawa, which we partnered with the pharmacy students to continue to embark on that based on the achievement we had on the STI campaign that we started last year. So basically, this is some of the achievement that the Federation of Ghana Medical Students Association National Health Week project has.
All right, and let me just track back a bit. When you mentioned the HPV, you know, the over 200 viruses in there, with the 40 of them that are usually, you know, found among us, how does it relate to cervical cancer? I just want to focus a bit on cervical cancer and the way, you know, this is hoping to impact treatment of that. I'll come to you, Otis.
Okay.
Okay, so
Otis.
Otis.
Thank you. So when it comes to the cervical cancer, like I said, the human papillomavirus is the cause of the cervical cancer. And what happens is that before it even advances to cervical cancer, we get what we call the precancerous lesions.
Okay.
Right? And so the human papillomavirus is a risk factor, one of the risk factors, and it's actually the prime risk factor for the cervical cancer. So you get if you deal with the human papillomavirus, then inadvertently you are going to reduce cervical cancer significantly.
The likelihood
of getting cervical cancer significantly. And so that's why we're focusing on the prevention of the acquisition of the infection by the HPV viruses. Do you get the point? So that is basically that. We know that it actually causes other conditions as well, depending on where it affects, the location of the body it affects. You can even get throat cancer, anal cancers and all that, or even the penile cancers. But we are focusing on cervical cancer because it also has some sort of high affinity for the cervix. And when I talk about the cervix, well, for the lay person, it is the entrance to the uterus or the womb of a woman. And so it presents with so many signs and symptoms. And so we want to prevent it at the early stages of the precancerous lesion, because those stages we can actually treat as much as possible. When it gets to the advanced stages, it becomes very difficult to treat. And that is what we're trying to raise awareness to reduce the problem.
Hilton, can HPV-related conditions, can they be prevented, can they be treated? And I ask following from what Otis has said, because I know in other parts of the world, there are even vaccines or something of the sort for people of a certain age. What is the situation in Ghana?
Okay, thank you. So, first of all, WHO has a goal that it wants to achieve by 2030. And actually, our campaign is eating into that. It's actually, that is one step at a time. It's actually leading towards helping the country to achieve that. So, HPV is preventable, HPV is curable. That is the interesting thing. Cervical cancer is the second most common cancer affecting women or females, second to breast cancer. But interestingly, it's preventable. So when it's detected early through screening, which usually the common screening that we have been doing is what we call the visual inspection with acetic acid, where we go into the cervix of the woman and then we use acetic acid, which is a chemical, and then when we identify a precancerous lesion, that is a lesion that can be that is yet to be cancerous. There are several techniques that can be used, and we use and it's curable right there and there. The other aspect is vaccination. We have the HPV vaccines that is available worldwide, and we have some in Ghana, but unfortunately, at the moment, it's handled by the private parties. I mean, the private partners, by businessmen and all that. So one thing we want to do is to advocate for publicly funded vaccines for the country. And the vaccine is for age 9 to by 15, you should have been vaccinated. But the good thing is that, which I believe very soon, the advocacy that was started several years, especially with our partners, International Papillomavirus Ghana chapter, to get the vaccine funded by public is going to happen very soon. So our campaign is actually leading into that, where we are going to have the vaccine for children at age 9 to 14 very soon being rolled out by Ghana Health Service. We hope hopefully by the end of this year, we should be having a vaccine. But for now, you can be screened, and then you can also prevent it by the use, since it's sexually transmitted infection, you can use condoms to also prevent the infection.
All right. So I would ask then, as part of this campaign, what are your key objectives? I'll start with Otis on that. What are you hoping to achieve at the end of this?
Okay. So First of all, the prime objective is to raise awareness. So when we come to prevention, we have levels of prevention: primary prevention, secondary prevention, tertiary prevention. And so the main goal is to start at the primary prevention level. We want to raise awareness as much as possible. We want to educate people on the risk factors of cervical cancer. We want to educate people on how they can prevent cervical cancer. And we want to let them know that they need to go for screening. So that's the first objective. The second objective is to provide screening, and then to some extent, if we get support from organizations that be, we will also provide some form of vaccination for certain high-risk groups. And the high-risk group he's mentioned was the people, the girls between the ages of 9 and 15 years who haven't had their sexual debut. So that is the caveat here. So that is the first two objectives. And the last one, obviously, we want to do an evaluation to monitor and see the impact that we've made within the year. So we're going to run this program from now all the way to the third quarter of the year. That is almost within August, October, thereabout. Yeah.
Okay. And so that feeds into the tertiary level you were about?
So with tertiary prevention, that has to do with more of treatment. So when you identify that people are having the lesions already, then you want to treat. That's tertiary prevention. So we are focusing more on the primary and secondary prevention.
Yeah. You don't want to get to the tertiary level because then you're about to graduate to a place you don't want to go.
Yes.
Technically,
yeah. Just wanted to add something.
Right.
So when it comes to the key activities, as you said, so by the end of the program, which is going to run from May to October, as he rightly said, we want to reach up to about 200,000 young children, young people, and adults. We are looking at the age from 10 to 45 years. I mean, giving them the education, raising awareness among them. And then the campaign is going to take place in almost all the 16 regions of Ghana, because the medical schools that are part of this association are strategically located. We have UDS handling the UDS Medical Student Association handling the northern sector. We have the KNUST Medical Student Association handling the middle belt. We have the medical schools in Greater Accra and Central Region handling the southern part, and then the UHAS Medical Student Association is handling the Eastern Corridor. So that is how we've demarcated ourselves. UCC is handling the Central Region and Western Region, and then Greater Accra will handle Eastern and then Greater Accra.
Right.
So that is how we intend to go about the education.
All right. And with all what you're doing, just to cap off the conversation, it would involve a lot of logistics, a lot of cost. Just about how much is involved? What support do you need? Put it out there as we wrap the conversation. I'll start with you, Hilton.
Okay, so per the budget we are working with is an estimate of about 200,000 Ghana cedis, which in dollar terms will be about $18,000. So basically what the money will be used for is one, logistics for screening. Also, in terms of medical students will be moved to the various underserved communities in their jurisdiction. So transport costs involve logistics for training of the medical student, logistics for also promotional materials as well. So we will be doing a lot of social media campaigning, traditional media campaigning. We will also be involving young people, training. We'll train young advocates or young ambassadors in the various communities. So we need funds for all these things.
All right. Per my calculation, if you do $18,000 by 15, you're getting about 270,000. So start asking for 300,000 Ghana cedis. Yes, what is?
Okay. We are calling on all and sundry to come on board because this is something that is of concern to everyone. It should be of concern to everyone, business owners, the stakeholders that are all involved, so that they can support us to raise. You know, cervical cancer is a preventable cancer. It's one of the cancers you can prevent. I think it's the only cancer that has a vaccination against. So why do we have to wait till our women tip off into advanced stages when we can educate them and then prevent them from even getting there in the first place? So that is the prime reason why we are here.
Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us, and we wish you the very best on this enterprise. If you'd like to support them, we'll find ways of... Is there an website or something people can go to?
Okay, so you can reach us on 024-669-7644, or you can also reach us through our email, fgmsa-ifmsa@ifmsa.org. And what is Ghana?
All right, so it is actually fgmsa@-ghana ifmc.org, so you can reach out to us. And you can also call the number and then reach out to us, give the bank details.
And so those who joined us, Otis Mbayur Ngoga is president of the Federation of Ghana Medical Students Associations. And we also had Hilton Terry Dansokesi, National Health Officer with the Federation of Ghana Medical Students Associations. And that's how we cap off our conversation this morning on the AM show. We have a little package for you before Joy News Desk. You want to stick and stay for that. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. Have a happy Mayday.
My name is Paulina Ababire. I'm in Lerbo, Northeast region. I'm a rice processor.